The sun has finally left the sky. There is no more direct light falling upon the city of Rome. The heat of the day, which had soaked into the stone walls and the paved streets, is now beginning to lift. It is a slow process. The air is changing. It is becoming still. The vibrant noises of the market, the wheels of the carts, and the shouting of the merchants have faded away. They are distant memories now. Here, inside the walls of the home, there is only quiet. Imagine a large, open courtyard in the center of a noble house. This is the peristyle. It is a garden surrounded by a covered walkway. The columns that hold up the roof are made of smooth marble. They are cool to the touch. If you were to place your hand against the white stone, you would feel the coolness seeping into your palm. It is a grounding feeling. The columns stand in perfect rows, silent sentinels that do not move, do not speak, and do not demand anything. In the center of this garden, the light is dim. The sky above is a deep, bruised purple, transitioning slowly into the heavy black of night. There are no clouds. It is just the vast, empty sky watching over the sleeping earth. You do not need to focus on this visualization. If your mind wanders, let it wander. The garden will remain here. The Roman night will wait. There is no rush to understand, no need to remember any details. A woman sits on a wooden bench near the edge of the garden. She is a noble woman, the lady of this house. But tonight, she is not doing anything of importance. She is simply existing. Her name does not matter. Her history does not matter. She is just a presence in the room, a part of the stillness. She is wearing a stola, a long, traditional garment made of fine wool. The fabric is a soft, pale blue, though in this fading light it looks gray. The wool is soft. It is not scratchy or heavy. It falls in loose folds around her legs. She adjusts the fabric slightly. The sound of the wool moving against itself is a soft swish. It is barely audible, just a whisper of texture. She rests her hands in her lap. Her hands are still. She is not holding a book. She is not holding a needle. She is doing absolutely nothing. In front of her, there is a small fountain. The water flows from a bronze spout. It is a continuous, gentle stream. Trickle, splash, trickle, splash. The rhythm never changes. It is the heartbeat of the garden. The water falls into a small marble basin. The surface of the water ripples outward in perfect circles. One circle forms, expands, and disappears. Then another takes its place. It is hypnotic. It is predictable. There is comfort in predictability. In knowing that the water will keep flowing, that the stone will stay hard, that the night will arrive. You can trust this moment. It requires nothing from you. On a small table beside the woman, an oil lamp has been placed. It is a simple clay lamp, terracotta, shaped like a small boat. Inside there is olive oil. A small linen wick floats in the oil. The flame is tiny. It is a single golden tear of light in the growing darkness. The flame does not roar. It does not flicker violently. It stands almost perfectly straight. Look at the flame. It is small. It casts a warm, amber glow onto the table. The light touches the woman's hand. It highlights the curve of her fingers. It creates long, soft shadows that stretch out across the mosaic floor. The shadows are not scary. They are soft. They are like blankets being pulled over the ground. The floor is made of thousands of tiny stones, small squares of white and black tile. They were placed there by hands long ago, one by one. Now they are cool and smooth. If you were to walk on them with bare feet, you would feel the smooth, uneven texture of the mosaic. But you do not need to walk. You can stay where you are. You can rest. The woman looks at the lamp. She watches the flame. She is not thinking about the politics of the Senate. She is not thinking about the grain supply or the legions on the border. Those things are far away. They do not exist in this garden. Here, there is only the smell of the night. The air smells faintly of lavender and rosemary. These herbs are planted in the garden beds nearby. The cooling air releases their scent. It is a clean, dry smell. There is also the smell of the olive oil burning in the lamp. It is a warm, earthy scent. It smells like home. It smells like safety. Somewhere on the other side of the house, a door closes. It is a dull, heavy sound. Thud. It is not loud. It is just a confirmation that the house is secure. The servants are finishing their tasks. They are moving slowly, too. Everyone is winding down. The energy of the day is evaporating. The woman leans back. The bench has a cushion on it stuffed with wool. It gives way under her weight. She exhales, a long, slow breath. Inhale, exhale. Her chest rises and falls. The movement is barely visible. Above the peristyle, the square of sky has turned completely black. The first star has appeared. It is faint, a tiny pinprick of white light. It is so far away, it twinkles slowly. The woman does not count the stars. She simply acknowledges that they are there. They have always been there. They look down on her ancestors and they look down on her now. They look down on you too. There is a sense of timelessness here. This moment could be happening 2,000 years ago, or it could be a dream happening right now. It does not matter. The separation between then and now is thin. The peace is the same. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Just as the woman relaxes her hands in her lap, you can relax your body. There is no danger here. The Roman guards are at the city gates. The walls of the house are thick stone. You are protected. A moth flutters near the oil lamp. It is a small, dusty moth. Its wings are gray. It circles the light. Flutter, flutter, flutter. It bumps gently against the clay lamp. It makes no sound. It is just a movement, a small life interacting with the light. The woman watches it lazily. Her eyes are heavy. She blinks. Blinking is slow. Her eyelids feel like heavy curtains. When she closes her eyes, the image of the flame lingers for a moment, a small orange dot in the darkness behind her eyelids. Then it fades. She opens her eyes again. The flame is still there. The water is still trickling. Trickle, splash. The sound of the water seems to be getting slightly louder as the rest of the world gets quieter. It washes over the mind. It smooths out the rough edges of thoughts. Imagine the water is washing away any worry you have. It flows over the marble, cool and clear, carrying everything away into the basin, where it settles and becomes still. The woman reaches out and touches a leaf of a plant growing next to the bench. It is a laurel bush. The leaf is waxy and firm. She runs her thumb over the surface of the leaf. It is smooth. She traces the center vein of the leaf. Up and down, up and down. It is a mindless action, a soothing repetition. Repetition is the key to rest. Doing the same thing, seeing the same thing, hearing the same thing. The brain realizes there is no new information to process. It can shut down. It can sleep. The shadows on the floor have shifted slightly. The moon must be rising somewhere, though it is not visible from this angle. The light in the garden is changing from the warm amber of the lamp to a cooler, silvery tone near the roof opening. The contrast is gentle. Warm light near the hand, cool light near the sky. The woman adjusts her shawl. The night air is getting cooler. Not cold, just crisp. A refreshing temperature that makes the warmth of the wool feel pleasant. She pulls the fabric closer to her shoulders. The friction of the cloth against her skin is a comforting sensation. It is like a hug. She is waiting for nothing. She is not waiting for a guest. She is not waiting for news. She is simply waiting for the time to sleep. And that time is drifting closer, like a slow boat on a calm river. Far away outside the house, a dog barks, once, twice. Then silence. The bark is muffled by the distance and the stone walls. It does not disturb the peace. It only emphasizes how quiet it is right here. The silence rushes back in to fill the space left by the sound. The silence is heavy, like a velvet blanket. The oil in the lamp is burning slowly. The level of the oil has gone down by a fraction of an inch, but there is still plenty left, enough to last through the evening. There is no need to refill it. There is no work to be done. The woman shifts her weight. She uncrosses her feet. She stretches her legs out slightly under the heavy folds of her dress. Her sandals are made of soft leather. They have thin soles. She can feel the texture of the mosaic floor through the leather. The coolness of the stone travels up. It is refreshing. She looks at the frescoes painted on the walls of the corridor. In the dim light, the colors are muted. There is a painting of a garden echoing the real garden. Painted trees, painted birds, painted fruit. They are frozen in time. The painted birds will never fly away. The painted fruit will never rot. It is a permanent, silent world within a silent world. She studies a patch of red paint on the wall. It is a deep, rich Pompeian red. Even in the shadows, the color has depth. She traces the line of the painted border with her eyes, a straight line, a geometric pattern, square, rectangle, square, rectangle. Following the pattern requires no effort. It is like walking a familiar path. You are safe to close your eyes now. The woman in the garden is safe. The house is strong. The night is long. There is a gentle breeze now. It enters from the open roof above the garden. It causes the flame of the oil lamp to dance. The flame bows to the left, then stands up again. It bows to the right, then stands up again. The shadows on the columns sway in time with the flame. It is a slow, rhythmic dance. The breeze rustles the leaves of the laurel bush. Rustle, hushing sound. It sounds like the garden is whispering, hush, hush, hush. The woman sighs. It is a sigh of contentment. The day is done. Whatever happened today is over. Whatever will happen tomorrow has not started. There is only this gap, this beautiful, empty gap of time. She picks up a small comb that was lying on the table. It is made of bone, smooth, polished bone. She runs her thumb over the teeth of the comb. Click, click, click. A tiny, rhythmic sound. She does not comb her hair. She just feels the object, the solidity of it, the reality of it. Things are real. The table is real. The floor is real. You are real. You are here resting. The water continues to flow. It sounds like rain, but softer. A constant, gentle rain that never gets you wet. It just cleanses the air. The woman decides to stand up. She does so slowly. There is no rush. She places her hands on her knees and pushes herself up. The wood of the bench creaks very faintly. She stands there for a moment, adjusting her balance. She feels the weight of her dress settling around her ankles. She feels the solid floor beneath her feet. She is going to move to another room soon, a room that is even quieter, a room for sleeping. But for now, she lingers. She takes one last look at the dark sky. The stars have multiplied. There are more of them now, a dusting of diamond dust across the black void. She picks up the oil lamp. Her hand cups the warm clay. She shields the flame with her other hand to protect it from the breeze. The light glows through her fingers, making them look translucent and red. She turns away from the garden. She walks slowly along the corridor. Her steps are measured. 1, 2, 3. The light from her lamp travels with her, pushing back the shadows in front of her, letting the shadows return behind her. She is a moving island of light. She passes a statue of a sleeping fawn. The marble statue looks peaceful. Its eyes are closed. It has been sleeping for 100 years. It will sleep for 100 more. She reaches a heavy wooden door. It is the door to the inner rooms. She pushes it open. The hinges are well oiled. They make no noise. She steps through and the scene changes slightly. The air here is warmer, more still. But we will pause here. You are still in the Roman night. You are still surrounded by safety and silence. The woman is safe. The light is warm. The water in the garden continues to trickle even though she has walked away. Trickle, splash, trickle, splash. The universe of the Roman Empire is asleep. The marble is cool. The wool is soft. The lamp burns on. The heavy wooden door has closed behind her. The sound of the latch clicking into place was soft, final. Now she stands at the edge of the atrium. This is the heart of the Roman house. During the day, this room is full of people. Clients waiting for the master, servants rushing with trays, the noise of business and life. But now it is a cavern of silence. The ceiling is high, lost in the shadows above. The only light comes from the small clay lamp she holds in her hand. The flame is a tiny, living island in a sea of darkness. As she takes a step forward, the light pushes the darkness back just a few feet. The darkness is not aggressive. It is fluid. It recedes like water and then flows back in behind her as she passes. She walks slowly. Her sandals make a soft slap sound against the mosaic floor. The rhythm is slow, slower than your heartbeat. Step, pause, step, pause. In the center of this vast room lies the impluvium. It is a shallow, rectangular pool set into the floor. It is designed to catch the rainwater that falls through the opening in the roof above. Tonight, there is no rain. The water in the pool is perfectly still. It is a mirror of black glass. She stops by the edge of the pool. She holds her lamp out slightly. The reflection of the tiny flame appears in the black water. 2 flames now. One real, one a reflection. Both are silent. Both are still. The reflection does not waver because the air in the atrium is heavy and motionless. There is a smell here. Can you imagine it? It is the smell of old stone and beeswax. The furniture in the room, heavy wooden chests and tables, is polished regularly with beeswax. It gives off a sweet, dusty scent. It is a smell that signifies age and stability. This house has stood for generations. It will stand for generations more. The scent is comforting. It tells you that nothing is changing. Nothing needs to be done. She breathes in the cool air. The air in the atrium is cooler than the garden. It has been trapped here all day, shaded from the sun. It feels clean in the lungs. She moves her hand and the shadows of the columns stretch out across the floor. Long, thin shadows that rotate as she moves. They look like the hands of a clock, but a clock that tells no time. Time has stopped here. There is only the present moment. To her right against the wall stands a large wooden chest. It is carved with simple geometric patterns. Inside, linens are stored. Sheets of linen folded perfectly, layer upon layer. Soft, white, heavy cloth, resting in the dark. The thought of those stacks of fabric is soothing. Order, cleanliness, quiet. She does not open the chest. She just brushes her fingers against the wood as she passes. The wood is cool and smooth, polished by years of touch. Her fingertips trace the grain of the wood. It is a tactile connection to the house. She continues walking. She reaches the lararium. This is the household shrine. It looks like a tiny temple set into the wall. Inside, there are small statues made of bronze and clay. They represent the Lares, the guardian spirits of the home. The statues are small, only a few inches high. They are frozen in mid-dance, holding drinking horns. But in the flickering light of her lamp, they seem to be resting. She does not pray. She does not ask them for anything. She simply looks at them. They are familiar friends. They have watched over this house while she sleeps every night of her life. They are watching now. Silent sentinels. There is a small offering dish in front of the shrine. A few grains of spelt wheat and a pinch of salt left from the morning. They are undisturbed. The gods are at peace. The house is at peace. You are at peace. She turns away from the shrine. Her movement is fluid, like a ribbon caught in a slow draft. She walks towards a small table made of citrus wood. This is a rare, expensive wood, prized for its beautiful, swirling grain. The table has 3 legs, shaped like the paws of a lion. On the table sits a basket. It is a wicker basket woven from dried reeds. Inside the basket there is wool, unspun, raw wool. It is soft, fluffy, and white like a cloud. Next to it lies a spindle and a distaff. These are the tools of her day, but the day is over. The tools are idle. She reaches into the basket and touches the wool. It is incredibly soft. Her fingers sink into the fluff. It is warm, unlike the stone floor. It retains the heat of the sun from days ago. She gently pulls at a tuft of wool, not to spin it, just to feel the fibers separating. It makes no sound. It is just a sensation. Softness, warmth, ease. She leaves her hand in the basket for a moment. It is a resting place. There is no urgency to remove her hand. There is no urgency to do anything. Far above, through the compluvium, the opening in the roof, a cloud must be passing over the moon. The faint, ambient light in the room dims slightly, then brightens again as the cloud moves on. It is a slow pulse of the night sky, a breathing of the universe. The house settles. Somewhere in the deep structure of the roof, a timber beam contracts as it cools. Creak. A low, wooden groan. It is not a scary sound. It is the sound of the house relaxing, like a person stretching their muscles before bed. The house is alive in its own slow, wooden way. The woman picks up her lamp again. The oil swishes gently inside the clay vessel. She watches the liquid move. It is thick, golden green olive oil. It moves sluggishly. Everything tonight is sluggish. She begins to walk towards the rear of the atrium, towards the tablinum. This was the office of her husband, the master's study. But at night, it is just a passageway. The curtains that usually separate it are pulled back. Heavy, red drapes tied with gold cords. The fabric hangs heavy and still. As she passes through the curtains, the fabric brushes against her shoulder. It is velvet-like, thick and plush. It muffles the sound of her movement. The world is becoming softer, more insulated. Layer by layer, the sharp edges of reality are being wrapped in wool and velvet and darkness. She pauses in the tablinum. There are scrolls here stored in hexagonal leather buckets. Hundreds of words written on papyrus rolled up tight. Laws, accounting, history. But tonight the words are hidden. They are rolled away. The knowledge is sleeping. You do not need to know what is written there. It does not matter. The only thing that matters is the silence. She looks at the floor here. It is different, a pattern of black and white diamonds. Her eyes trace the lines. Zig-zag, zig-zag. The pattern is repetitive. It is easy to follow. It requires no thought. Her eyes follow the line from the wall to the center of the room and back again. It is a visual lullaby. She feels a yawn coming on. It starts deep in her chest, a tightening and then a release. She opens her mouth and inhales deeply. The air fills her. She exhales a long, slow breath. Her eyes water slightly. The tiredness is settling in physically now. Her limbs feel heavier. Her eyelids feel like they are made of lead. She is moving closer to sleep. And as she moves, you move with her, down into the quiet, down into the dark. She notices a small draft coming from a side corridor. It is not cold, just a movement of air. It carries the faint scent of the kitchen fires, now long extinguished. Ash and distant herbs, a memory of dinner, a memory of warmth. She shields her lamp with her hand again. The flame stands tall. It is a loyal companion. It does not judge the lateness of the hour. It simply burns. She walks past a bust of an ancestor on a pedestal. The marble face is stern, but in the soft light the features seem softened. The shadows hide the wrinkles of the stone. The ancestor looks like he is sleeping upright. Everyone is sleeping. The city outside is sleeping. The animals are sleeping. She adjusts the shawl on her shoulders. One side had slipped down slightly. She pulls it back up. The motion is slow and deliberate. She tucks the end of the shawl into her belt. She feels the pressure of the belt against her waist. It is a grounding sensation. She is nearing the entrance to the corridor that leads to the bedrooms. The cubiculum, the most private part of the house, the most silent part. But before she goes there, she stops at a small bench in the tablinum. She sits down for a moment, not because she is exhausted, but because she can. There is no rush to get to bed. There is no rush to end the journey. The journey itself is rest. She places the lamp on a low table beside the bench. The light illuminates the legs of the table. They are carved to look like vines, wooden leaves and wooden grapes. She stares at a wooden grape. It is perfectly round. She lets her vision blur. The grape becomes just a shape, a shadow, a dark spot in the amber light. She leans her head back against the wall. The plaster is cool. It feels good against the back of her neck. It draws the heat out of her skin. She closes her eyes. Listen to the room. There is a profound lack of sound, but if you listen very closely, you can hear the silence. It has a texture. It is thick. It hums with a very low frequency. It is the sound of stones resting on the earth. In the distance, perhaps miles away, a cartwheel rolls over a stone. Rumble. It is so faint you might have imagined it. It is gone as soon as it arrived. It does not disturb the silence. It only proves how deep the silence is. The woman's breathing creates a rhythm in the room. In, out, in, out. Her hands are resting on her knees. Her fingers are relaxed. They are slightly curled, natural and loose. No tension in the knuckles, no tension in the wrists. She thinks of the garden she left behind, the water trickling. She imagines the water flowing in her mind. The visual memory is fading, becoming a soft gray blur. She opens her eyes slowly. The room hasn't changed. The lamp hasn't changed. The consistency of the world is reassuring. She is safe here. She decides it is time to move to the final destination. The bedroom, the place of dreams. She picks up the lamp. The handle is warm now. The clay has absorbed the heat of the flame. It feels like holding a small, warm, living creature. She stands up, her knees straighten. She turns towards the narrow corridor. The hallway is darker than the atrium. The ceiling is lower. It feels more intimate, more enclosed, like a burrow. She takes the first step into the corridor. The walls are painted black in this hallway, with tiny garlands of flowers painted in red and green. The black walls absorb the light of her lamp, making the space feel infinite and cozy at the same time. You cannot see the ends of the hallway, only the small circle of light where she stands. She walks step, step, step. Each step takes her deeper into the heart of the house, deeper into the night. The air gets stiller. The sounds of the outside world are completely gone now. There is only this hallway, only this light, only this slow, steady walk towards sleep. She passes a door to a storage room. It is closed. It holds jars of olive oil and wine, resting in the cool dark, waiting. Everything is waiting. She is almost there. Her pace slows even more. She is savoring the final moments of wakefulness. The transition from being a person in the world to being a soul in the dream world is happening now. The flame flickers once as if bowing to the coming sleep. She steadies it. She is calm, she is heavy, she is ready. She is still in the corridor. The hallway is narrow. Unlike the vast open space of the atrium, this space is enclosed. It feels safe. It feels like a tunnel burrowed deep into the earth, though it is merely a hallway in a house. The walls here are painted a deep, rich black. It is a specific style of Roman decoration. The black paint does not make the space feel small. It makes it feel infinite. The walls seem to disappear into the shadows. On the black surface there are tiny, delicate paintings. As she walks, the light of her oil lamp catches them. For a second, a painted bird appears in the circle of light. It is a small green parrot frozen in flight. Its wings are spread. It has been flying on this wall for 20 years. It never tires. It never lands. She passes it and the bird returns to the darkness behind her. Then a painted garland of flowers appears. Tiny red roses, small white lilies. They are connected by thin, pale green ribbons. The artist who painted them used a very fine brush. You can see the individual strokes if you look closely. But she does not stop to look. She knows they are there. They are part of the scenery of her life, a background detail that requires no attention. The floor here is different. In the main hall, it was an elaborate mosaic. Here, in the private corridor, the floor is made of opus signinum. It is a type of crushed tile mixed with mortar. It is reddish-pink in color. It is smooth, polished to a shine, but it has a warmer feeling than the marble. It feels softer under her thin leather soles. She takes a step, soft thud. She takes another step, soft thud. The sound is muffled. The walls are close. The ceiling is low. The acoustics of the corridor are deadened. There is no echo here. Any sound you make is immediately absorbed by the walls. It is a very private silence. She pauses to adjust the lamp in her hand. Her fingers are getting slightly warm from the clay. She shifts her grip to the handle of the lamp. The oil inside sloshes very gently. It is a thick, viscous sound. Gloop, gloop, barely audible. She looks at the flame again. It is smaller now. The wick is burning down. It doesn't matter. She is almost at her destination. The light only needs to last a few more minutes. Just enough time to get to the bed. Just enough time to lay down. There is a small niche in the wall to her left. A recessed shelf cut into the stone. On the shelf sits a small glass vase. It is empty. The glass is blue, a cloudy, pale blue like the sea on a calm day. The light from her lamp passes through the glass. It casts a blue shadow on the black wall, a faint, watery shape. It looks like a ghost of a flower. She traces the rim of the vase with her index finger as she passes. The glass is cold, smooth, perfect. There is no dust. The servants have cleaned it. Everything is in its place. The order of the house is absolute. There is nothing out of place. There is nothing for her to fix. You can let go of your need to organize. You can let go of your list of tasks. In this Roman house, everything is already done. The vases are clean. The floors are swept. The doors are locked. The world is complete. She reaches the end of the corridor. Before her stands a door. It is the door to the cubiculum, the bedroom. The door is made of heavy oak. The wood is dark, stained by time and oil. It has a solid, heavy look. It is a barrier between the world and sleep. There is a bronze handle on the door. It is shaped like a simple ring. She reaches out. Her hand moves slowly through the air. Her fingers wrap around the cold metal ring. The contrast between her warm hand and the cold metal is sharp but fleeting. The metal warms up quickly under her touch. She turns the ring. The mechanism inside the door is old and simple. Iron on iron, click. A solid mechanical sound, a sound of permission. The door is unlatched. She pushes the door open. It swings inward. The hinges are heavy, but they move smoothly. There is a low, drawn-out creak. Krieg. It is a low-pitched sound like a cello note played very slowly. It is not a scary creak. It is a welcoming sound. It is the sound the room makes when it opens its arms to receive her. She steps across the threshold. She is now inside the cubiculum. This room is small. Roman bedrooms were often very small, even in large palaces. A small room keeps the heat in. It feels like a nest. There are no large windows here to let in the cold draft or the noise of the street. There is perhaps a tiny slit high up in the wall, but it is covered with a thick curtain. The room is a sealed box of quiet. The air in here is different. It is warmer than the corridor. It smells of dried chamomile and clean linen. It is a stuffy, cozy smell, the smell of sleep. It makes her eyelids feel heavy instantly. The moment she enters this room, her body knows it is time. She turns around and pushes the door closed. Thud. The latch clicks back into place. Now the silence is absolute. The corridor is gone. The atrium is gone. The garden is a distant memory. The city of Rome does not exist. There is only this room, this 10-foot by 10-foot square of safety. She stands with her back to the door for a moment, letting her eyes adjust. The single flame of her lamp illuminates the room. The walls here are painted a soft, pale yellow, ochre. It is a warm color. Even in the dim light, the walls seem to glow with a faint, inner warmth. It is like being inside a sunrise. In the center of the room, dominating the space, is the bed, the lectus. It is not like a modern bed. It is high off the ground, a wooden frame on 4 beautifully carved legs. The wood is inlaid with ivory. Small, white geometric shapes set into the dark wood, triangles and diamonds. They catch the lamplight. To get into the bed, there is a small wooden footstool nearby, but she is not ready to climb in just yet. She moves towards a small table in the corner. She sets the oil lamp down on the table. Clink. The clay bottom of the lamp meets the marble top of the table. The sound is sharp and short. Now that the lamp is stationary, the shadows in the room stop moving. They settle into their corners. The room becomes still. She stands beside the table and begins to undo her belt. The zona. It is a simple strip of woven fabric tied around her waist. She unties the knot. Her fingers work slowly. There is no rush. She pulls the fabric loose. The tension around her waist disappears. She takes a deep breath. Her stomach expands. She feels lighter. She folds the belt. Once, twice. She places it on the table next to the lamp. The movement is precise. She aligns the edge of the belt with the edge of the table. Why? No reason. It is just a habit, a satisfying, small action. She touches the fabric of her stola. She will sleep in her undertunic. She unpins the fibulae, the bronze brooches at her shoulders. Click. One pin, click the other pin. She lets the heavy outer garment slide down. It pools around her feet like a soft wave of water. She steps out of it. She picks it up and drapes it over a wooden stand nearby. The fabric hangs there, heavy and still. It looks like a statue of herself. Now she is wearing only her tunica, a simple, soft linen shift. It is white. It is loose. It allows her skin to breathe. The linen is old and has been washed hundreds of times. It is incredibly soft, almost like silk. It feels cool against her skin. She runs her hands down her arms. She is grounding herself in her body. She feels the muscles of her arms relaxing. She rolls her neck. Crack. A tiny pop of release. She rolls it the other way. The tension of the day is melting off her, dripping onto the floor, disappearing into the shadows. She looks at the bed again. It looks so inviting. The mattress is stuffed with wool and feathers. It is thick. It sits on a web of leather straps stretched across the wooden frame. On top of the mattress, there are sheets of fine Egyptian linen. They are white, crisp, and clean. At the head of the bed, there are pillows. Not one, but 3. Large, soft pillows stuffed with goose down. They are plump. They look like clouds that have been captured and brought inside. At the foot of the bed, there is a heavy blanket. It is made of dyed wool, a deep, rich purple, Tyrian purple. It is a color of nobility, but right now it is just a warm color, a heavy color. The blanket looks heavy. You can imagine how it will feel to have that weight on top of you, pressing you down, holding you safe. She moves to the small footstool. She steps up, one step. She sits on the edge of the bed. The mattress sinks under her weight. It makes a soft crunching sound, the sound of the straw and wool compressing. It is a rustic, comforting sound. She swings her legs up onto the bed. Her feet leave the floor. She is no longer touching the ground. She is floating on this island of wool and feathers. She scoots back until her back is against the pillows. She does not lie down fully yet. She sits there, propped up, looking at the room one last time. She looks at the ceiling. It is vaulted, curved like the inside of a barrel. The plaster is smooth. There are no paintings on the ceiling, just white space, a blank canvas for dreams. On the wall opposite the bed, there is a small shelf with a single object, a silver mirror. The metal is polished to a high shine. In the dim light, it reflects nothing but shadow. It is a dark pool on the wall. It is not watching her. It is just there. The flame of the lamp is getting lower. The oil is almost gone. The light is turning from amber to a deep, burnt orange. The corners of the room are disappearing into the darkness. The world is shrinking. It is shrinking down to just the bed, just the light, just her. She leans forward and reaches for the lamp. Her hand hovers over the flame. She could blow it out, or she could let it burn out on its own. She decides to let it burn. It will only last a few more minutes. It will watch over her as she falls asleep. It will die naturally just as she drifts off. She leans back against the pillows. They conform to the shape of her body. They support her head, her neck, her shoulders. She sinks into them. It feels like a hug from behind. She pulls the purple wool blanket up. She grabs the thick edge of the fabric. She pulls it over her feet, over her knees, over her waist, up to her chest. The weight of the blanket is immediate. It is heavy. It presses her down into the mattress. It traps her body heat. Within seconds, she begins to feel warmth spreading through her legs. She wiggles her toes under the covers. The linen sheets are cool against her feet, but the wool blanket on top is warm. The combination is perfect. Cool, smooth sheets, heavy, warm wool. She places her hands on top of the blanket. Her palms are open. She is holding nothing. She needs nothing. Her breathing slows down even more. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. The room is silent. Wait. If you listen very, very closely, you can hear the sound of the house settling again. Tick. A tiny sound from the wooden furniture. Then silence. The light flickers. The shadows jump on the wall. Then they settle. She blinks. Her eyes stay closed for a second longer than necessary. Then she opens them, but only halfway. Her eyelids are too heavy to keep fully open. She stares at the flame. It is the only thing moving in the universe. It dances slowly. Left, right, up, down. It is hypnotic. It is a lullaby made of light. She thinks about the day briefly. Not the events, just the feeling. The sun is gone. The noise is gone. The expectations are gone. She is just a body resting in a room. She is a part of the history of this house. But right now, she is just a person who is tired. She shifts her hips slightly, finding the perfect spot in the mattress. The wool compresses. The feathers settle. She is locked in. She is comfortable. There is nowhere else she needs to be. There is nothing else she needs to do. The walls of the room stand guard. The door is locked. The stone is strong. The air is still. The night is long. She closes her eyes. This time she does not open them immediately. She listens to the darkness. It sounds like a low hum, a vibration of peace. She is ready to sleep, but not just yet. She is enjoying the feeling of falling towards sleep. That space between waking and dreaming. That soft, gray fog that rolls in and covers the mind. The flame of the lamp sputters. A tiny sound. It flares up one last time, bright and yellow, and then it begins to fade, slowly, dimmer, dimmer. But we will not let it go out just yet. We will stay here in this warm, dim glow for a little longer, watching the light play on the folds of the purple blanket, watching the stillness of the woman's hands. The room is a sanctuary, a temple of rest, and you are inside it. The oil lamp is still struggling. It is the only living thing in the room besides the woman. The flame is no longer a steady tear of light. It has become a small blue pulse at the end of the charred wick. It rises, then falls. Rises, then falls. It is breathing its last breath. The woman watches it from her pillow. Her eyes are slits. She does not try to save it. She knows it is time for the light to leave. The shadows in the corners of the room are creeping closer. They are not menacing. They are like a soft, heavy blanket being pulled up to her chin. The room is preparing to sleep. Flicker, flicker, fade. And then it happens. The tiny blue light vanishes. The room is plunged into darkness. It is not a sudden, scary darkness. It is a relief. It is the feeling of closing a heavy book after reading the last page. The story is done. The visual world has been turned off. For a moment, her eyes still see the ghost of the flame, a small, floating spot of purple and green in the center of her vision. It drifts to the left, then to the right. She watches this phantom light. It is an echo of the day. Slowly, very slowly, the spot fades away. It dissolves into the velvet blackness that surrounds her. Now she can see nothing. If she were to hold her hand up in front of her face, she would not see it. The darkness is absolute. The heavy curtain over the window blocks out the moon. The door is thick oak. No light enters here. She is floating in a void, a warm, soft, safe void. Without sight, her other senses begin to wake up gently. They become more sensitive. She feels the linen sheet under her cheek. It is no longer cool, it has warmed up from her skin. It feels smooth, almost slippery. She rubs her cheek against it gently. A tiny movement, swish. The sound is magnified in the dark. It sounds loud, like a whisper right in her ear. She smells the pillow. It smells of goose feathers, a faint, dusty animal smell. It is a natural scent, and underneath that, the smell of dried lavender that was packed with the linens. It is a sweet, dry smell. It fills her nose with every breath. Inhale, lavender and feathers. Exhale, warm air. She becomes aware of the weight of the wool blanket on her feet. It feels heavier now that she cannot see it. It anchors her to the bed. It tells her legs, "Stay here, do not move. You are done for the day." She wiggles her toes again, just a tiny bit. The wool is scratchy against the top of her toes, but the sheet below is smooth. The contrast is pleasant, rough and smooth, heavy and light. The silence has changed. When the light was on, the silence felt like a pause. Now that it is dark, the silence feels permanent. It is a thick substance that fills the room. It presses against her ears gently. She swallows, gulp. The sound of her own throat is the loudest thing in the universe. She shifts her jaw. She realizes her teeth were touching. She separates them. She lets her jaw hang loose. Her tongue rests on the floor of her mouth. The tension in her face evaporates. Her forehead smooths out. The tiny muscles around her eyes relax. The mask of the noblewoman, the face she wears for the world, for her husband, for the servants, falls away. In the dark, she has no face. She is just a consciousness. She is just a breathing rhythm. Outside the house, the city of Rome has entered the second watch. The night was divided into 4 watches. This is the deepest part, the time when even the restless settle down. Far, far away on the street, the vigils, the night watchmen, might be walking. Can you hear them? Probably not. The walls are too thick, but imagine them. Men in leather sandals walking slowly on the cobblestones. They carry lanterns. They check the doors of the shops. They are the guardians of the sleep. Because they are awake, she can sleep. Because they are walking, she can lie still. She listens for them anyway. She strains her ears into the darkness. She hears nothing, only the sound of her own heart. Thump, 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 thump. It is a slow, steady drum. It beats against the mattress. She can feel the vibration in her chest. It rocks her slightly. A timber in the roof settles again. Crack. This time the sound is louder because of the dark, but she does not flinch. She knows this house. She knows every bone in its body. The house is just shifting its weight. It is getting comfortable just like her. She moves her hand under the pillow. She slides her arm underneath the cool underside of the pillow. Her hand finds a cold spot on the sheet. It feels delicious. She rests her palm there. The coolness seeps into her skin. She thinks of the atrium again, the pool of water. In her mind, she is back there, but now she is floating in the pool. The water is dark and warm. She is weightless. She is drifting on the surface of the black water, drifting, drifting. There is no wall to stop her. The pool goes on forever. Her breathing changes. It becomes deeper. The rhythm lengthens. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause. The pause at the bottom of the breath is the sweet spot. That moment of nothingness before the next breath begins. She lingers there, in that empty space. She feels a tingling sensation in her legs. It is the blood slowing down, the muscles turning off. Her legs feel like logs of wood, heavy, inert. If she wanted to lift her leg now, it would take a tremendous effort. So she doesn't. She surrenders to the gravity. Gravity is a friend. It pulls her down into the earth. It holds her safe. She turns her thoughts to the wool blanket again. She imagines the sheep that gave this wool. Sheep grazing on a green hillside in Italy. The sun shining on their backs, the grass waving in the wind. The image is static. It doesn't move. Just a picture of a sheep, fluffy, white, eating grass, boring, peaceful. She counts the sheep. 1 sheep, 2 sheep, 3 sheep. She loses count at 4. It doesn't matter. There is no math test. There is only the wool. The air in the room is cooling down slightly. The heat of the day is finally leaving the stone walls. A very faint chill touches the tip of her nose. It makes the warmth of the blanket feel even better. She burrows her chin deeper into the blanket. She pulls it up over her ear. Now the sound of her breath is louder. It sounds like the ocean. Whoosh, whoosh. The sound of the ocean inside a seashell. She is safe in her shell. The bed is a boat. The room is a cave. The night is a blanket. She rolls onto her side. The movement is slow motion. The rustle of the sheets is a soft cascade of noise. Rustle, shuffle, settle. She finds a new position. Her knees are curled up. The fetal position, the oldest position in the world. She rests her head on the edge of the pillow. Her hair spreads out behind her. It is loose, free from pins, free from braids. It flows over the pillow like dark water. She closes her eyes tighter. She sees swirling colors now. Phosphenes, the natural light show of the brain, dull reds, murky greens. They swirl like oil on water. She watches them shape shift. A circle, a line, a cloud, nothing. The concept of time is dissolving. Has she been lying here for 10 minutes or an hour? It is impossible to tell. In the dark, there is no time. There is only now. And now is quiet. She feels a very faint vibration in the floor. A heavy wagon passing on a main road miles away. Or perhaps just the earth humming. It is a soothing vibration. It resonates with her bones. She relaxes her shoulders. She didn't realize they were still slightly hunched. She drops them. They fall away from her ears. Her neck lengthens. She relaxes her fingers. They uncurl completely. Her hand lies open on the mattress, palm up, a gesture of receiving sleep. The darkness feels heavy on her eyelids. It presses them down. Even if she wanted to open them, she couldn't. They are glued shut with sleep. Her mind begins to fragment. Thoughts become less like sentences and more like pictures. A cup, a blue sky, a stone, the sound of water. She is drifting away from the shore of consciousness. The boat is unmoored. The rope has been untied. She is floating out into the open sea of sleep. The water is calm. There are no waves, just a gentle rocking, rocking, rocking. She hears a sound from the corner of the room, a cricket, a tiny chirping sound, chirp, then silence, chirp, then silence. It is a friendly sound, a lullaby from nature. It means the house is so quiet that even a tiny insect can be heard. She sinks her breathing to the chirp. Inhale, chirp. Exhale, chirp. The cricket is her companion. They are both alone in the dark, both safe, both resting. She feels a wave of warmth wash over her body. It starts at her chest and spreads down to her toes. It is the body entering the first stage of sleep. Her temperature is regulating. Her heart rate is slowing down. Ba-bump, ba-bump, slower, slower. She is almost gone. The woman in the room is no longer a Roman noble. She has no name. She has no rank. She is just a sleeping creature. The history books do not write about this. They write about wars and emperors. They do not write about the silence of a bedroom in 50 AD, but this is real history, the history of peace, the history of rest, and you are living it with her. The darkness is not empty, it is full of rest. It is a reservoir of energy for tomorrow, but tomorrow is 1,000,000 years away. Right now there is only the blanket, the pillow, the dark. She twitches slightly, her foot jerks, the hypnic jerk. Her body is testing to see if the muscles are truly asleep. They are. She settles back down, deeper than before. She sinks into the mattress. It feels like she is sinking into sand, warm, soft sand. It molds around her body. It holds her tight. She is asleep, or almost there, hovering on the edge. The world has faded to black. The silence is complete. She is no longer awake. The conscious mind has finally let go of the rope. She has drifted out into the vast, silent ocean of sleep. The room, however, remains. The physical world does not disappear just because she has stopped looking at it. The room continues to exist in the dark, performing its own silent vigil. Let us look at the room now that she is gone from it mentally. The darkness is thick. It has settled into every crevice. Under the bed, behind the heavy wooden chest, inside the folds of the curtain. The darkness is a physical presence. It is heavy and still. The air in the room is perfectly motionless. If you were to drop a feather in the center of the room, it would fall straight down. No drift, no sway, just a straight line to the floor. The dust motes that usually dance in the light are now suspended in the air, frozen in place, waiting for the morning sun to wake them up. The temperature has dropped another degree. The stone walls are radiating a cool aura. This coolness meets the warmth of the bed, a small island of heat generated by the sleeping woman. There is a gentle battle between the cold stone and the warm wool. The wool is winning. It traps the heat, folding it back onto her, creating a microclimate of pure comfort. Listen to her breathing. It has changed. It is no longer the controlled breath of an awake person. It is the rhythmic, automatic breath of deep sleep. H-H-H-H-H-H-H-H. Shuo, H-H-H-H-H-H-H-H, Shuo. It is a soft sound, like the wind moving through dry grass. It is the only clock in the room. Each breath marks a moment of survival, a moment of peace. Her body is completely limp. The tension that holds the neck up, that keeps the jaw set, that holds the fingers curled, it is all gone. Her hand, resting on the mattress, is open. Her fingers are loose, like the petals of a flower that has opened fully. Under the blanket, her feet are warm. The wool has done its job. The heat is evenly distributed. There are no cold spots. She is encased in a cocoon of thermal perfection. Outside, the third watch has begun. This is the time after midnight, the deepest part of the night, the time when ghosts were said to walk, but there are no ghosts here. Only the Larrys, the household gods in the atrium, standing their silent guard. They do not sleep. They watch the shadows. In the atrium, the water in the impluvium is still. A single leaf from the garden might have blown in earlier. It sits on the surface of the black water. It does not move. It is a tiny boat on a frozen sea. The reflection of the stars in the water is crisp and clear. The stars have moved across the sky. The constellations have shifted. The hunter has chased the bull across the heavens. But inside the house, nothing moves. Back in the bedroom, a floorboard settles. Creak. It is a dry, wooden sound. It comes from the corner near the door. It is the wood contracting as the night cools. It sounds like the house is whispering shhh. The woman stirs, just slightly. She turns her head on the pillow. The linen case makes a soft scritch-scratch sound against her hair. She murmurs something unintelligible, a fragment of a dream, or just a sound of comfort. Then she settles again. Her cheek finds a cooler spot on the pillow. She sighs. A long, shuddering exhale that empties her lungs completely before the next breath begins. She is dreaming now, but these are not exciting dreams. They are not adventures. They are the dreams of a quiet life. In her dream, she is walking in a garden, but it is not a garden of this earth. The colors are muted. The sky is a pale, milky white. There is no sun, just a diffuse light that comes from everywhere at once. She is walking on grass that feels like velvet. It makes no sound. She sees a tree. It is laden with fruit. Pomegranates, but they are gray like stones. She reaches out to touch one. It is smooth and warm. She is not looking for anything. She is not going anywhere. She is just walking. Step, step, step. The dream loops. She walks past the same tree again and again. It is a comforting loop. There is no destination. The act of walking is the destination. Back in the room, the smell of the extinguished lamp still lingers faintly. The smell of burnt olive oil. It mixes with the lavender of the sheets. It is the scent of a Roman night. It is a smell that has existed for thousands of years. If you were there, you would recognize it. It smells like safety. A small draft finds its way under the door. It creeps across the floor. It touches the leg of the wooden stool. It does not reach the bed. The bed is high enough to be above the draft. She is elevated, protected from the cold floor. She is deeply asleep now, in the stage known as slow wave sleep. Her brain waves are long and slow, like the rolling swells of a calm ocean. This is the restorative sleep, the sleep that heals the body, the sleep that knits the mind back together. Her heartbeat is slow and strong, thump, thump, thump. It beats in time with the universe. Imagine the city outside. Rome, the eternal city. It is vast, miles of brick and marble, thousands of sleeping people, slaves sleeping on straw mats, soldiers sleeping in barracks, senators sleeping in villas, shopkeepers sleeping above their shops. Everyone is united in this act. For these few hours, there is no hierarchy. There is only sleep. The emperor sleeps just like the beggar. The woman in the bed is part of this massive, collective silence. She is a single thread in the great tapestry of the sleeping empire. Her hand twitches again. A finger curls and uncurls. Maybe in her dream she is holding a cup or touching a piece of fabric. The connection between the dream world and the physical body is thin, but it is there. The darkness in the room seems to pulse gently. It is not empty space, it is a medium. It holds the silence, it amplifies the peace. If you listen hard enough, you can hear the blood rushing in your own ears. Whoosh, whoosh. It sounds like the sea. You are the sea, she is the sea. The blanket rises and falls, up, down, down, it is a mountain range that breathes. The folds of the purple wool create valleys and peaks in the darkness. She is completely unaware of the world. If a legion marched past the house now, she might not hear it. She is in the citadel of sleep. The walls are high. The gates are barred. Nothing can touch her here. She rolls onto her back. Her arms fall to her sides. She is open to the ceiling. Her face is smooth. The worry lines are gone. She looks younger in the dark. She looks like a statue of a goddess carved from smooth marble, sleeping beauty of the Palatine Hill. The silence stretches out. It becomes elastic. It feels like hours have passed in minutes, or minutes have passed in hours. Time is fluid here. It pools on the floor like honey. Thick, slow, sweet time. There is nothing to do. There is nothing to see. There is nothing to hear. Only the gentle rhythm of existence. You can rest here. You can stay in this room as long as you like. The dawn is hours away. The sun is on the other side of the world. It is busy shining on other lands. Here, the night reigns supreme, and the night is kind. She takes a slightly deeper breath, a readjustment of oxygen. Then she sinks back into the shallow, easy breathing. The cycle continues, unbroken, uninterrupted, perfect. The room holds her. The house holds the room. The city holds the house. The earth holds the city. It is a nesting doll of safety. And in the very center, wrapped in wool and linen and darkness, she sleeps. The night has settled into a profound, heavy groove. It is the hour when the earth itself seems to stop spinning, just for a moment, to catch its breath. Inside the cubiculum, the Roman noblewoman has not moved for a long time. She is a permanent fixture of the bed, a statue carved from warmth and breath. The darkness in the room has a texture now. It feels velvety, thick, and almost liquid. It fills the space between the furniture, pressing gently against the walls. It is not an empty void. It is a supportive substance. It holds the silence together. Let's focus on the blanket again, the Tyrian purple wool. In the daylight, it is a symbol of status and wealth. But here, in the absolute dark, color does not exist. The purple is just a memory. Now it is simply weight. It is a heavy, comforting pressure that pins her to the mattress. It is a physical reminder that she is safe, that she is grounded. The weave of the wool is tight. It traps the air. If you were to look at it under a microscope, you would see thousands of tiny fibers interlocking, creating a barrier against the cold. The cold air of the room tries to enter, but the wool says no. It protects the warmth of the sleeping body. Her hand is tucked near her face. The linen sheet under her cheek has warmed up completely. There is no longer a cool spot. The fabric and the skin have become one temperature. The boundary between her body and the bed is blurring. She is melting into the sleep. Outside the room, beyond the heavy oak door, the corridor stretches out in blackness. The painted garlands on the walls are invisible. The painted birds are sleeping in the dark. The silence in the hallway is different from the silence in the bedroom. It is a hollow silence, a waiting silence. Further out in the atrium, the temperature has dropped. The stone floor is cold. The water in the impluvium is colder still. If a drop of water were to fall from the roof now, it would make a sharp, crystal-clear sound, plink. But no water falls. The sky is clear. The stars are hard and bright, looking down through the square opening in the roof. They see the empty hall. They see the shadows of the columns stretching out like long, dark fingers across the floor. Back in the bedroom, the woman sighs in her sleep. It is a soft, fluttering sound. Her lips part slightly. Her breath escapes, invisible in the dark. H-H-H-Ha. It is the sound of total relaxation. She shifts her leg. The wool blanket creates friction against the linen sheet, a low, dry rustle. S-H-H-H-Wa. The sound dies instantly. The heavy drapes over the window absorb it. The room swallows it. Silence returns deeper than before. She is dreaming of water now, not the ocean but a slow, winding river. The water is green and opaque. It moves so slowly that you can barely tell it is moving. She is floating on a raft made of reeds. The sun is warm on her face. There is no wind. The reeds of the raft creak gently. Creak, creak. It is a rhythmic, hypnotic sound. It matches the rhythm of her breathing in the real world. The air in the bedroom is stale, but in a good way. It is the scent of deep rest. It is heavy with carbon dioxide and sleep. It is a warm pocket of air that belongs only to her. On the table beside the bed, the oil lamp stands cold. The clay is no longer warm to the touch. The oil at the bottom has settled. The charred wick is black and brittle. It has done its job. It rests now, a silent artifact in the dark. Beside it, the bone comb lies still. The belt lies folded. These objects are patient. They do not need attention. They will wait for hours, for years if necessary. The concept of waiting implies an expectation of something happening. But here, nothing is expected to happen. So the objects are not waiting. They are simply existing. The table exists. The floor exists. The walls exist. The walls are thick stone, covered in plaster. They are cool. If she were to touch the wall now, it would feel like touching the inside of a cave, a protective cave. The stone absorbs the sounds of the outside world. Somewhere deep in the structure of the house, a mouse might be moving. Tiny claws on stone, scritch, scritch. It is so faint that it is below the threshold of human hearing. It is just a vibration in the floor, a tiny life moving in the shadow of the great house. It pauses. It listens. It moves on. The mouse, too, is part of the night. The woman's heartbeat is steady. Lub-dub, lub-dub. It is the engine of her life idling low. It pumps the blood slowly through her veins. It nourishes her resting muscles. It is a tireless worker. She doesn't have to tell it to beat. It just does. You don't have to tell your body to relax. It knows how. Just let it happen. Her eyelids are still heavy. Even in her sleep, they are sealed shut. There is no tension in the eyes. The eyes are resting in their sockets, looking at nothing, seeing nothing. The pillow is soft. It is stuffed with down feathers from geese raised on farms in the north. Soft, white, fluffy down. Thousands of tiny feathers cushioning her head. Her head creates a depression in the pillow, a perfect mold of her skull. She is cradled. She turns slightly onto her other side. The movement is clumsy and slow. She pulls the blanket with her. The heavy wool drags across her legs. She settles into the new position. She makes a small sound of contentment. Mung, a vibration in the throat, a signal that everything is fine. The room feels smaller in the dark. The corners have dissolved. The ceiling has vanished. There is only the immediate space around the bed, a bubble of warmth. She is completely alone but not lonely. Sleep is a solitary journey, but it is a crowded one. Everyone sleeps. The whole world is sleeping with her. Imagine the other rooms in the house. The kitchen. The fire is out. The ashes are gray and cold. The pots are scrubbed clean and stacked. The smell of garlic and onions is faint, lingering in the cold air. The kitchen is resting. The knives are resting. The spoons are resting. The slave quarters are quiet, breathing, snoring, shifting on straw pallets. The whole household is a symphony of sleep. And outside, the street is empty. The stones of the via are cool. The wind blows gently down the narrow alleyways. It stirs the dust. It rattles a loose shutter on a shop front. Tap, tap, tap. The sound is lonely. It echoes briefly and is gone. The wind moves on. It flows over the rooftops. It flows over the tiles. It flows over the compluvium of the house, looking down into the atrium, but it does not enter. The air inside is still. The woman's breathing deepens again. She is entering another cycle of deep sleep. Her body is paralyzed in the good way, nature's way of keeping her safe while she dreams. She cannot act out her dreams. She can only watch them. She is a spectator in her own mind, watching the river, watching the slow green water. Her hair has fallen across her face. A single strand touches her nose. It tickles slightly. Her nose twitches. She brushes it away with her hand, a reflex action. Her hand moves lazily, heavy as lead. It drops back onto the mattress. Thump. A soft, dull sound. She does not wake up. The night is long. There is no rush for the dawn. The sun is in no hurry. The moon is in no hurry. You are in no hurry. The silence is like a blanket for the ears. It covers everything. It muffles the thoughts. There are no thoughts left, only sensations, warmth, softness, heaviness, darkness. The four walls of the room stand firm. They have held up the roof for 50 years. They will hold it up for tonight. There is no danger of the roof falling. There is no danger of the walls crumbling. The architecture is sound. The engineering is Roman, solid, lasting. She sinks deeper, deeper into the mattress, deeper into the dark. It feels like falling slowly through a cloud, a dark, warm cloud. Her breathing becomes almost imperceptible. If you were standing next to the bed, you would have to lean in close to hear it. A tiny whisper of air, life sustaining itself in the quiet. The universe has shrunk down to this one room, this one bed, this one woman, and you are watching over her. You are the silent guardian of the sleep. Everything is okay. Everything is still. Everything is silent. The darkness wraps around her shoulders like a shawl. She is safe. She is asleep. The night has now stretched into the fourth watch. This is the final segment of the Roman night, the long, quiet stretch before the first hint of dawn. But dawn is still far away. The sky is still an endless, solid black. The stars have rotated further, marking the slow passage of time that no one is watching. Inside the cubiculum, the atmosphere has reached a point of perfect stasis. The air is completely still. The temperature has stabilized. The heat from the woman's body has warmed the pocket of air under the blanket to the exact temperature of her skin. She is no longer generating heat to fight the cold. She is simply existing in equilibrium. Her breathing is a metronome, in, out. It is the only clock that matters. The rhythm is slow, steady, and unbroken. Let us leave the bedroom for a moment, moving silently like a ghost, back out into the corridor. The black walls of the hallway are invisible in the dark, but if you could see them, you would see that the painted birds are still flying. The painted flowers are still blooming. They do not need light to be beautiful. They exist in the dark, waiting. We move further into the atrium. The air here is cooler now. The stone floor has released all its heat from the day. It is cold. If you were to walk here barefoot, the chill would wake you up instantly. But we are not walking. We are floating. We are observing. The water in the impluvium is a flat black mirror. Wait. A small insect lands on the surface of the water, tip, a tiny ripple. It expands outward, a perfect circle. It hits the marble edge of the pool and bounces back. The ripples cross each other. A complex pattern of geometry that lasts for 3 seconds and then disappears. The water is smooth again. The event is over. The silence returns. We move past the tablinum, past the heavy curtains that hang motionless, and out into the peristyle garden where the story began. The garden is different now. It is deeply asleep. The fountain is still trickling, but the sound seems louder in the dead of night. Trickle, splash, trickle, splash. It is a lonely sound, but it is a constant sound. It tells the garden that water is still flowing. Life is still present. The laurel bushes are dark shapes against the darker walls. Their leaves are still. There is no wind in the garden now. The breeze from earlier has died down. The air is stagnant and heavy with the scent of damp earth and rosemary. The smell is stronger now than it was in the evening. The moisture of the night brings out the oils in the plants. A small owl sits on the roof tiles above the garden. It is a little owl, the bird of Minerva. It is small, brown, and fluffy. It blinks its large yellow eyes. It looks down into the garden. It sees the fountain. It sees the bench where the woman sat hours ago. It sees nothing of interest. It fluffs its feathers, a silent puff of air. It turns its head. It waits. It is a sentinel of the night. It does not hoot. It just watches. Back inside the house, deep in the cubiculum, the woman dreams on. Her dream has shifted. She is no longer on the river. She is in a room filled with white fabric. Curtains of white linen blowing in a gentle wind. She is walking through them. The fabric brushes against her face. Soft, cool. She pushes a curtain aside and there is another one. And another. Layers of soft white. Endless layers. It is a dream of texture. A dream of softness. Her physical body reacts to the dream. Her fingers twitch against the wool blanket. She is feeling the texture of the dream fabric. The sensation is pleasant. It is soothing. The silence in the room is not empty. It is full of the absence of noise. That sounds strange, but it is true. The absence of noise has a weight. It presses against the ears. It is a relief. No shouting, no carts, no barking dogs, no demands, just the sound of blood pumping, just the sound of air moving in and out of lungs. The darkness is a friend. It hides the clutter of the world. In the dark, the room is perfect. There are no stains on the floor. There are no cracks in the plaster. There is only the idea of the room, the perfect, platonic ideal of a sleeping chamber. She rolls onto her stomach. This is a major movement. The bed creaks, creak. The mattress compresses. The wool blanket slides off her shoulder, exposing one arm to the cool air. She shivers, a tiny reflex. Without waking up, her hand reaches out. It searches for the blanket. Her fingers find the thick, rough edge of the wool. She pulls it up. She tugs it over her shoulder. She tucks it under her chin. The warmth returns. The security is restored. She sighs. H-H-H-H-M-M-M. A sound of deep satisfaction. She turns her head to the side, resting her cheek on the pillow. Her hair is a mess, spread out like a fan. It covers half her face. She breathes through her hair. The air is warm and smells of her own shampoo, olive oil, and herbs. It is a familiar, comforting smell. The pillow is getting warm under her head. She lifts her head for a split second, flips the pillow over. No, that is too much effort. She just shifts slightly to the left, finding a fresh, cool patch of linen. Ah, that's it. The cool touch against the hot cheek. Bliss. The concept of tomorrow does not exist in this room. There is only this eternal night. The Roman Empire could rise and fall, and it would not matter in this room. Here, the only thing that matters is the softness of the bed. The oil lamp on the table is cold as stone. The darkness has swallowed it completely. You cannot even see the outline of it anymore. The room is a uniform shade of black. If you opened your eyes, you would see nothing. If you closed your eyes, you would see nothing. There is no difference between looking and not looking, so you might as well keep them closed. Rest your eyes, rest your mind. Let the darkness wash over you like the water in the woman's dream. Warm, dark water, floating, drifting. She is deeper now. Her brain activity is slowing down even more. The dreams are fading. She is entering a dreamless state, a void of pure rest. This is where the body repairs itself, where the muscles knit, where the mind clears out the dust of the day. It is a busy time for the body, but a silent time for the mind. The silence is interrupted by a sound from far away. A rooster crows, crow, but it is wrong. It is too early. It is a confused rooster. It crows once weakly and then stops, realizing its mistake. The sun is not up. The night is still king. The sound does not wake the woman. It is too distant. It is just a part of the texture of the night, a reminder that the world is out there but it is not here. The silence rushes back in to fill the gap left by the rooster. It feels even quieter now. The contrast makes the silence deeper. She breathes in. She breathes out. The rhythm is hypnotic. Join her in the rhythm. In, out, in, out. There is nothing to worry about. The door is locked. The guards are at the gate. The house is solid. The bed is soft. She is safe. You are safe. The night is holding you both in its giant dark hand, gently, carefully. We will stay here for a while, just listening to the breath, just feeling the dark. There is no rush to move to the next scene. The next scene is hours away. For now, there is only sleep. Shuo. We have reached the hour of the wolf, the time just before the dawn begins to break. It is the coldest part of the night. The heat of yesterday is a distant memory, and the heat of today has not yet arrived. The world is suspended in a chill, gray stillness. Inside the cubiculum, the air has sharpened. It feels crisp. If you were to breathe it in deeply, you would feel the coldness in your nose, a refreshing contrast to the drowsy warmth of the bed. The stone walls have released the last of their warmth. They are now cold to the touch. They stand around the bed like blocks of ice, sealing the room in a temperature that demands you stay under the covers. The woman in the bed knows this instinctively. She does not wake up to feel the cold. Her body simply reacts. She curls tighter. She becomes a smaller shape in the bed. Her knees come up higher towards her chest. Her chin tucks down. She is minimizing her surface area, preserving the precious island of heat she has created. The wool blanket is doing its best work now. It is the barrier between the woman and the elements. It holds the line. The cold air pushes down, but the thick, felted wool pushes back. Underneath, it is tropical. It is a sanctuary of warmth. She sleeps heavily. This is the sleep of the final hours. It is a dense, sticky sleep. It is hard to wake from this sleep. If you were to shake her shoulder now, she would groan and turn away, pulling the darkness back over her head. But no one is shaking her. No one is disturbing her. Listen to the room again. The silence has changed quality. Earlier, it was the silence of emptiness. Now, it is the silence of anticipation. The house knows that morning is coming, but it is not ready to start yet. It is holding its breath for one more hour. Somewhere in the deepest bowels of the house, in the kitchen area far away, a fire might be getting stoked. Imagine the sound. A small metal poker scraping against stone, scrape. A log of wood being placed on gray embers, thud. A soft breath of air blowing on the coals, woo. It is so quiet, so distant. It is not a noise that wakes you. It is a noise that comforts you. It tells you that civilization is still running. Someone is awake so you don't have to be. Someone is warming the water. Someone is preparing the bread. You can stay in bed. The world is being managed. The woman shifts her head. Her hair is matted slightly against her neck. It is warm and tangled. She does not care. She is lost in the velvet fog of unconsciousness. She moves her hand out from under the blanket for just a second. The cold air hits her fingertips. It is a shock. Cold. Immediately, the hand retreats. It slides back under the heavy purple wool. It finds a warm spot against her stomach. Safe again. The darkness in the room is starting to loosen its grip. It is no longer the pitch black of midnight. It is shifting, very subtly, to a deep charcoal gray. You can't see anything yet, but you can feel that the light is coming. It is miles away over the hills, but it is coming. But not yet. For now, the gray is just a softer version of the black. Let's focus on the texture of the linen sheet again. It has been wrinkled by her movements during the night. The smooth surface is now a landscape of small hills and valleys. Her skin navigates these ridges. It is a map of her rest. The linen is soft, worn by years of washing with soapwort and ash. It is softer than any modern cotton. It feels like water against the skin. She breathes out a long, slow exhale. H-H-H. Her lips vibrate slightly. She is completely relaxed. Her facial muscles are slack. The space between her eyebrows is smooth. There is no tension in her jaw. Outside the house, the city of Rome is beginning to stir in its sleep. Not the people yet, but the infrastructure, a cartwheel on the Via Appia miles away. Rumble, rumble. It is a low-frequency sound. It travels through the ground. It vibrates the bed frame ever so slightly. It is a lullaby of commerce. The grain is coming to the city. The oil is coming to the city. The rhythm of the empire continues. A dog barks, but this time it is not a lonely bark. It is answered by another dog far away. A conversation in the dark. Woof. Silence. Woof. It is not annoying. It is just the texture of the morning. The woman does not hear the dogs. She is deep in a dreamless void. She is floating in a warm, dark bubble. There is no sound in her bubble. There is no light. There is only the feeling of weightlessness. She feels the pillow under her ear. It is solid and supportive. It holds her head up. She trusts the pillow. She trusts the bed. She lets go of the last tiny bit of tension in her shoulder. Her shoulder drops another millimeter into the mattress. She sinks deeper. The smell of the room has changed slightly. The lavender scent has faded, replaced by the scent of cool stone and morning dew entering through the tiny cracks in the window shutters. It is a fresh smell, a clean smell. It smells like a new day, but a day that hasn't started yet. The oil lamp is a dark shape on the table. It looks like a sleeping bird. The bone comb is a white sliver in the gray dark. The belt is a coiled snake resting. Everything is still. Everything is waiting. The cold is the dominant force now. It presses against the window. It tries to find a way in. But the shutters are tight. The curtains are heavy. The room is a fortress against the chill. Inside the fortress, the woman is the queen of warmth. She generates heat. The blanket traps it. It is a perfect cycle. She swallows in her sleep. A dry, clicking sound in her throat. She smacks her lips. Then she settles again. The rhythm of her breath resumes. In, out, in, out. It is slower now than it was at midnight. Her metabolic rate has dropped to its lowest point. She is in a state of hibernation, conserving energy, repairing cells. It is a biological miracle happening in complete silence. You are watching a miracle of rest. You are part of this rest. Your breathing slows down to match hers. Your muscles relax to match hers. You feel the phantom weight of the wool blanket on your own legs. Heavy, warm, protective. The gray light in the room is increasing, but only by a fraction. It is barely perceptible. It just means that the shadows are becoming slightly less dense. The corner of the room is now a dark gray instead of black. The outline of the door is barely visible, a rectangle of darker gray against the wall. The woman rolls onto her back again. This time she stays there. Her head lolls to the side, her neck is exposed. The rhythm of her pulse is visible in her neck, a tiny flutter under the skin. Life, quiet, steady life. She brings her hands up and rests them on her chest, clasped loosely together. It is a pose of peace, a pose of finality. She looks like an effigy on a tomb, but soft and breathing. The rise and fall of her chest lifts her hands, up, down, up, down. It is soothing to watch. It is soothing to imagine. There is nothing else to look at, just the gentle motion of breath. The silence is filling up with the almost sounds of morning. The birds are waking up, but they haven't started singing yet. They are just rustling in the trees outside. Rustle, shuffle, preparing the orchestra, but the conductor has not raised the baton. The silence holds. The woman is safe. The house is safe. The city is safe. The night is ending, but the sleep is not. The sleep is deep and wide. She drifts on the surface of the morning, not ready to wake, not ready to move, just floating, floating. The cold air kisses her forehead. The warm blanket hugs her body. The contrast is delicious. It makes the sleep feel even better. Stay here in this cold, gray, quiet room. Stay in the warmth of the bed. There is nowhere to go, nothing to do, just sleep. The blackness of the night has finally surrendered. It hasn't left completely, but it has softened into a deep, hazy gray. This is the gray hour, the time when the world loses its color and exists only in shades of shadow and light. Inside the cubiculum, the change is subtle. The room is no longer a void. You can begin to see shapes again. The heavy wooden chest in the corner is a large, dark rectangle. The table with the lion paw legs is a silhouette against the wall. The oil lamp is a small, curved shadow. The woman in the bed is still asleep. She has not moved since the last watch. She lies on her back, her hands resting loosely on her chest. The gray light filters through the tiny gaps in the heavy curtains. Beams of dust-filled light, faint and weak, stretch across the room. They do not touch the bed. They hang in the air like ghostly ribbons. The air in the room is at its coldest. The morning chill has settled in. It is a damp, heavy cold that smells of dew and wet stone. But under the mountain of purple wool, the woman is warm. She is a furnace of life in a cold stone box. Her breathing has changed slightly. It is shallower now. She is slowly, very slowly, beginning the ascent from the depths of sleep. She is not awake, not even close, but her body knows the sun is coming. The biological clock is ticking. Outside the window, the first bird begins to sing. It is a tentative sound, tweet. Pause, tweet. It is a sparrow. It is waking up in the ivy that grows on the garden wall. It shakes its feathers, rustle. Then it chirps again, louder this time. Chirp, chirp. It is the first note of the morning symphony, but for now it is a solo performance. The sound enters the bedroom. It is muffled by the stone and the fabric, but it gets through. It reaches the woman's ears. In her dream, the sound becomes a bell. A small silver bell ringing in a distance. Ting, ting. It is a pleasant sound. It does not alarm her. It weaves itself into her dream. She turns her head on the pillow. The linen is cool again. The movement is lazy. She does not want to wake up. She fights the morning. She burrows her face into the pillow, trying to recapture the darkness. MMMNGGH, a groan of protest. She pulls the blanket up over her ear. She creates a cave within a cave, blocking out the bird, blocking out the light. The silence returns for a moment. The bird stops singing, perhaps wondering if it started too early. The room settles back into quiet. The dust motes in the light beams dance slowly. Up, down, spiraling. They are the only things moving in the room. Let's look at the floor. The mosaic pattern is becoming visible, black and white tiles. In the gray light, they look like a chessboard. The pattern is rigid and ordered. It contrasts with the organic mess of the bed, the crumpled sheets, the tangled hair, the piled wool. Order and chaos, side by side. The door to the bedroom is still closed, but outside in the corridor, the house is waking up. Listen closely. Can you hear it? Scuff, scuff. Bare feet on stone. It is a slave, a young girl perhaps. She is walking softly, carrying a pitcher of water. She is moving towards the kitchen. She does not want to wake the masters. She is a shadow moving in the gray light. Scuff, scuff. The sound fades away. The silence rushes back in. The woman in the bed sighs. The tension is starting to return to her body. Her muscles are priming themselves. Her fingers curl slightly, gripping the edge of the blanket. She is holding onto the sleep. Don't let go yet. Stay in the warm. She dreams of a feast now. A table laden with grapes and figs, the smell of roasted meat, but she is not eating. She is just looking at the colors. The purple of the grapes matches the purple of her blanket. The connection makes her smile in her sleep, a tiny twitch of the lips. The light in the room grows a fraction brighter. The gray turns to a pale blue, the blue hour. The objects in the room gain definition. You can see the grain of the wood on the table. You can see the texture of the plaster on the wall. The mystery of the night is evaporating. The reality of the day is solidifying. But she refuses to accept it. She rolls over. A big, heavy roll. The whole bed shakes gently. She ends up on her side, facing the wall, turning her back on the light, turning her back on the day. Her breathing deepens again. She forces herself back down. Inhale. Long pause, exhale. She succeeds. She sinks back into a light doze, the twilight zone between wakefulness and sleep. This is the best kind of sleep, the kind where you know you can sleep a little longer, the stolen sleep. It feels luxurious. It feels like a gift. The air is still cold, but there is a promise of warmth in the light. The sun is just below the horizon now. It is painting the sky above Rome in streaks of pink and orange. But inside the room, it is still blue and cool. The bird starts singing again, and this time it is joined by another. A blackbird whistle, trill. The duet is beautiful. It is not noise, it is music. Nature's alarm clock, gentle, gradual. It doesn't beep, it doesn't ring, it just sings. The woman's eyelids flutter, just once. Then they close tight again. She is aware of the birds, she is aware of the light, but she is not ready, not yet. She feels the heaviness of her limbs. They feel like they are filled with sand, good, heavy sand. She enjoys the weight, she enjoys the paralysis. She wiggles her toes against the sheet. The friction creates a tiny bit of heat. Warmth is the most important thing. Warmth is life. She thinks about the day ahead, but only vaguely. A bath, a walk in the garden, spinning wool. It all seems so far away, so unimportant. The only important thing is the pillow, the softness of the feathers against her cheek. She drifts, floating on the surface of consciousness, dipping under, coming up, dipping under. It is a gentle bobbing motion, like a boat in a harbor. The house is definitely awake now. A door opens somewhere, creak. A voice whispers, psst. A bucket clanks, clang. These are the sounds of the machine starting up, the great Roman machine of domestic life. But the bedroom is a sanctuary. The sounds are outside, she is inside. The heavy oak door protects her. It is a shield. As long as the door is closed, the day cannot touch her. As long as her eyes are closed, the sun cannot find her. She takes a deep breath of the cool air. It wakes up her lungs. She exhales a puff of warm air. She is a dragon in her cave, sleeping on her hoard of gold, which is actually just a wool blanket. The light beam has moved. It is now touching the foot of the bed. It illuminates the purple wool. The color explodes in the gray room. Rich, deep, royal purple. It is beautiful, but she doesn't see it. She only feels it. She is hovering on the edge. 1 foot in the dream world, 1 foot in the real world. It is a delicate balance. She tries to stay on the dream side. She grabs a fragment of the dream, the white curtains, the grapes, and holds it tight. Don't let go. The morning is inevitable, but for now it is paused. It is waiting for her permission, and she has not given it yet. She sleeps on, in the blue light, in the cold air, in the warmth of the bed. The Roman noblewoman refuses the day. She chooses the rest. And you can choose it too. Close your eyes against the blue light. Pull the blanket up. Stay in the warmth just a little longer. The sun has broken the horizon. The great golden orb is rising over the Sabine hills to the east of Rome. It is reclaiming the city from the night. The blue light of the pre-dawn is evaporating, replaced by a warm, honey-colored glow. Inside the cubiculum, the transformation is magical but slow. The gray shadows are retreating into the corners. The room is filling with a soft, diffuse amber light. It is not harsh, direct sunlight yet. It is the reflected light bouncing off the clouds and the white marble buildings of the city. The beam of light that was ghost-like before is now solid gold. It stretches from the window gap across the floor, cutting the room in half. It illuminates the dust motes. Millions of tiny particles floating in the air. Look at them. They swirl in the convection currents, up, down, around. They are like tiny stars in a micro-universe. They are completely silent. They are mesmerizing. The woman in the bed opens her eyes. This time they stay open. She blinks, once, twice. The lashes are heavy. Her eyes feel dry. She stares at the ceiling. The plaster is now a warm cream color. She traces a small crack in the plaster with her eyes. It looks like a river on a map. She follows it from one end to the other. It goes nowhere. It is just a crack. She does not move her body. She is practicing the art of lingering. Why get up? The bed is still warm. The air outside the blanket is still cool. The contrast is too good to give up. She becomes aware of her own body. Her legs feel heavy, as if they have turned to stone during the night. Her arms are limp. Her back is molded perfectly to the mattress. She feels the texture of the linen sheet against her heels. It is a grounding sensation. She listens. The house is fully awake now. The hush of the night is gone, replaced by the hum of the morning. It is a low, steady drone, voices in the distance. Servants talking in the courtyard, mumble, mumble. You cannot hear the words. It is just a melody of human speech. The sound of water splashing, a bucket being emptied, splash. The sound of a broom sweeping stone. Swish, 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 swish. It is a rhythmic sound, like the heartbeat of the house. Outside, the city is roaring. But from inside the bedroom, behind the thick walls, the roar is just a whisper. The wooden wheels of carts on the cobblestones. The shouts of vendors selling bread and water. It is a wall of sound that surrounds the house, isolating it in a bubble of relative calm. The woman stretches. It is a slow, luxurious stretch. She extends her arms above her head. She points her toes. She arches her back. Every muscle tightens for a second, strain, and then, release. She collapses back into the mattress. Ah! The blood rushes into her limbs. A tingling sensation waking up the nerves. She lies there for another minute, doing absolutely nothing, just breathing, just being. She looks at the oil lamp on the table. It looks different in the daylight. It looks mundane, just a piece of clay. The magic of the flame is gone. The mystery of the night is gone, but the peace remains. There is a soft knock at the door. Tap, tap. It is a polite knock, not demanding, just a signal. The woman does not answer verbally. She just makes a small sound in her throat. The latch lifts, click. The heavy oak door swings open. A young woman enters. It is her personal slave, her ornatrix. She is carrying a basin of silver filled with water and a folded towel over her arm. She moves silently. She wears a simple tunic of undyed wool. Her feet are bare. She places the basin on the table with the lion legs, clink. She places the towel next to it. She does not speak. She knows the routine. The morning is a silent time. The mistress wakes up slowly. The slave moves to the window. She reaches for the heavy velvet curtains. The woman in the bed squints. She knows what is coming. Swish. The curtains are pulled back, creak. The wooden shutters are pushed open. And then light, glorious bright Roman morning light floods the room. It hits the white walls and bounces everywhere. The room explodes with brightness. The woman shields her eyes with her hand. The light is aggressive. It demands attention, but it is also warming. The sunbeam hits the foot of the bed. The woman can feel the heat of the sun through the wool blanket immediately. It starts to cook the wool. A warm, toasty smell rises up. The slave opens the window to the garden air. A breeze enters. It is fresh and cool, carrying the scent of the morning. Cypress trees, wood smoke from the city bakeries, fresh bread, the smell of Rome. The sounds of the garden are loud now. The fountain is right there, trickle, splash, the birds are shouting, tweet, chirp, whistle, the world is rushing in. The slave turns and looks at the bed. She waits. She stands with her hands clasped, a statue of patience. The woman in the bed sighs. The night is truly over. The sanctuary of sleep is breached, but she still doesn't get up. She takes one last moment. She looks at the dust motes again. They are dancing faster now, energized by the sunlight. She pushes the blanket down, first to her waist. The cool air hits her chest. Her linen tunic is thin. She feels the chill, then to her knees, then to her feet. She is exposed to the day. She sits up slowly, vertebra by vertebra. She props herself up on her hands. Her hair falls forward, covering her face like a curtain. She leaves it there for a moment, a private tent. She brushes the hair back. She blinks at the room. It is a new day, a boring, safe, predictable day. She swings her legs over the side of the bed. Her feet dangle for a second. She looks at her toes. They are pale. She lowers her feet. Her toes touch the floor. Cold. The stone floor is still freezing. She curls her toes against the cold. She stands up. Her knees crack slightly. Pop. She feels the weight of her body. Gravity feels stronger in the morning. She takes a step, then another. She walks towards the basin of water. The slave steps forward and pours a little warm water from a jug into the basin to temper the cold. Splash. Gurgle. Steam rises from the basin. A thin wisp of white steam in the sunbeam. The woman dips her hands into the water. It is perfect, warm, soothing. She cups the water in her hands. She splashes it on her face. Splash. The shock of the water wakes her up completely. She rubs her eyes. She takes the towel. The linen is rougher than the sheets. She pats her face dry. She looks into the silver mirror on the wall. The reflection is clear now. She sees her own face, pale, sleepy. She sees the room behind her, the messy bed, the imprint of her body still visible on the mattress, the ghost of her sleep. She turns away from the mirror. The day has begun, but it will be a slow day, a day of leisure, a day of quiet. She walks towards the door out of the cubiculum. She leaves the sleep behind. She steps into the corridor. The painted birds on the wall are bright green now. The painted flowers are bright red. The darkness is gone. She walks towards the atrium. The sun is shining through the roof opening. A square of brilliant light lies on the floor right next to the pool. The water in the pool sparkles. The house is alive with light. She pauses by a column. She runs her hand over the marble. It is warming up. She looks at the garden. The green is so vibrant it hurts the eyes. It is a beautiful, ordinary morning in the Roman Empire. Nothing bad is happening. Nothing exciting is happening. Just the sun rising. Just the water flowing. Just the slow march of time. She sits on a bench in the atrium. She is not ready to do anything yet. She will just sit here in the sun and listen to the house. This is the morning routine. To sit, to wait, to warm up like a lizard on a rock. You can sit with her. Feel the imaginary sun on your face. Feel the warmth penetrating your skin. The cold of the night is being pushed out of your bones. Close your eyes again, even though it is morning in the story. Imagine the orange glow of the sun through your eyelids. It is a warm, comforting color. Listen to the fountain, trickle, splash. Listen to the distant hum of the city. Hum. Everything is fine. Everything is steady. The sun has risen on the empire and it will set again tonight. The cycle is unbreakable. You are part of the cycle. Rest in the certainty of the day. Rest in the boredom of safety. The woman leans her head back against the wall. She closes her eyes for just a second. A micro sleep. Just checking if the sleep is still there. It is. It is always there waiting for tonight. But for now, she breathes in the morning air. Inhale, exhale. And we wait. We wait for the next part of the day, slowly, with no rush at all. The sun has climbed a few degrees higher in the sky. The light in the house has shifted from the pale gold of sunrise to a clearer, brighter white. It is the second hour of the Roman day. The city is fully active now, but inside the domus, the pace remains deliberately slow. The woman has moved from the atrium bench. She is now seated in a high-backed chair made of wicker. The chair is placed near a window to catch the best light. The wicker creaks softly as she settles into it. Creak, squish. It is a comfortable, rustic sound. Behind her stands the ornatrix. This is the enslaved woman skilled in the art of hairdressing. She is an artist of patience. She stands silently, her hands waiting. On a small marble table nearby, the tools of her trade are laid out like surgical instruments, but for beauty. Combs of bone and ivory, bronze pins, glass jars of oil, a silver mirror. The ritual begins. It starts with the brushing. The ornatrix picks up a wide-toothed comb made of polished bone. It is the color of old ivory. She gathers the woman's long, dark hair. It is thick and heavy from sleep. It falls down the woman's back like a dark curtain. The comb touches the scalp, scritch. It glides down the length of the hair, swish. Listen to the rhythm, touch, glide, release, touch, glide, release. It is a hypnotic sound. The friction of the bone teeth against the hair creates a sound like dry leaves rustling. It is a sound of cleaning, of ordering, of smoothing out the tangles of the night. The woman's head tips back slightly under the pressure of the brush. Her eyes are half closed. The sensation of someone else brushing your hair is one of the most relaxing feelings in the world. It sends tiny shivers of relaxation down the neck. The scalp tingles pleasantly. The tension in the forehead melts away. The ornatrix works methodically. She starts at the ends, gently teasing out a knot. Tap, tap, pull gently, never pulling too hard. Then she moves up, higher and higher, until she is stroking from the roots to the tips in one long, continuous motion. The sunbeam from the window hits the hair. It shines. You can see the dust motes dancing in the light around the hair. The hair looks like dark silk. It absorbs the light and reflects it back as a deep, rich brown. Now the oil. The ornatrix reaches for a small glass bottle. It is a balsamarium, a vessel for precious oils. The glass is blue-green, blown by a craftsman in Egypt. It is stoppered with a piece of cork. Pop. The cork is removed. A tiny sound. The smell fills the immediate area. It is the scent of almond oil infused with rose petals. It is sweet, nutty, and floral. It is not overpowering, it is a gentle perfume that hangs in the air. The ornatrix pours a small amount of oil into her palm. Drip, drip, drip. The oil is thick, golden. She rubs her hands together to warm the oil. Swish, swish. The sound of skin on skin. Then she applies it to the hair. Her fingers massage the oil into the strands. Rub, smooth, rub, smooth. The oil tames the frizz. It adds weight and gloss to the hair. The smell of roses becomes stronger as the oil warms up on the hair. The woman breathes it in. Inhale, rose and almond. Exhale, contentment. The brushing resumes. Now the comb glides even more smoothly. There is no resistance. The hair is fluid. It flows like water over the woman's shoulders. The repetition is the point, stroke after stroke. 10 times, 20 times, 50 times. There is no rush. The day is long. The hairstyle must be perfect, but the process of getting there is where the peace lies. The woman holds the silver mirror in her lap. She is not looking at it yet, she is just holding it. The metal is cool against her palms. She traces the patterns on the back of the mirror with her thumb. Swirls and leaves carved into the silver, round and round, tracing the lines. It is a mindless fidgeting. It keeps her hands busy so her mind can float. Now the styling begins. Roman hairstyles can be incredibly complex, towers of curls and braids. But today, for a quiet day at home, the style will be simpler. A braided bun at the back of the head. The notice style, perhaps, or just a classic gathered look. The ornatrix divides the hair into sections. Part. The comb draws a straight line across the scalp. The sensation is sharp but pleasant. A defining line. She separates the strands. 1, 2, 3. She begins to braid. Over, under, over, under. It is a silent dance of fingers. The fingers move quickly but quietly, weaving the hair together, tightening the braid, tug, smoothing the strand, stroke. Over, under. The braid grows. It hangs down the woman's back like a thick rope. The sound of the hair being woven is a soft F-weep. F-weep. Fabric against fabric. Texture against texture. The woman's head is heavy. She lets the ornatrix move it, turn to the left. She turns, turn to the right. She turns. She is a doll. She has surrendered control. It is a relief to surrender control. To let someone else take care of you, to let someone else make the decisions. The braid is finished. Now the pinning. The ornatrix picks up a hairpin. It is made of bone with a small carved bird on the top. She twists the braid into a coil at the back of the head. Round and round, a spiral of hair. She holds it flat against the skull. She slides the pin in, slide, wiggle, secure. The pin anchors the hair. The weight is lifted off the neck. The neck feels cool now, exposed to the air. Another pin and another, click, slide, click, slide. The structure is built. It is solid. It will not move for the rest of the day. The woman lifts the mirror now. She looks at the reflection. The silver surface is slightly polished, slightly hazy. It gives a soft focus to her face. She turns her head to see the side profile. The hair is sleek, shiny with oil, pulled back tightly. It is orderly. Rome is about order. The hair represents the order of the mind. She is satisfied. She lowers the mirror, clink, back into her lap. The ornatrix steps back. Her work on the hair is done, but she does not leave. There is still the face. She opens a small wooden box, a pyxis. Inside there is a white powder, chalk or white lead common in Rome, though we know now it is dangerous. To them it was just powder. She picks up a small puff made of wool. She dips it in the powder. Pat, pat. She gently dabs the powder onto the woman's face. Just a dusting, to pale the skin, to hide the redness of sleep. The wool puff feels like a cloud touching the skin. Soft, soft on the forehead, on the cheeks, on the chin. It is a dry, dusty sensation. It smells faintly of chalk. Then a touch of color, a small pot of red ochre, or perhaps dregs of wine mixed with beeswax. The ornatrix uses her little finger. She dips it in the red paste. She dabs it onto the woman's lips. Tap, tap, tap. She blends it. It is not a bright red, just a hint of life, a stain of color. The woman presses her lips together, smack, spreading the color. The beeswax tastes faintly of honey. The process is almost mechanical. There is no conversation. How did you sleep, mistress? Fine. That is all. The silence is preserved. The bond between them is one of service and routine, not chatter. The sun is getting warmer. The beam of light on the floor has moved. It is now touching the leg of the wicker chair. A fly buzzes near the window. Bzzzzzzzzzzz. It bumps against the glass if there were glass or the open shutter. Thump. It flies away. The sound emphasizes the quiet of the room. The woman closes her eyes again. She is sitting up, but she is resting. The smell of the rose oil is settling. It is becoming part of her. She feels clean. She feels groomed. The disorder of the night has been brushed away. She is ready to be a Roman matron. She runs her hand over the back of her neck. She feels the smooth, tight hair. She feels the cool tips of the bone pins. It is a tactile confirmation of reality. I am here. I am real. The ornatrix begins to tidy up. She puts the cork back in the oil bottle. Squeak. Pop. She wipes the comb with a cloth. Rub. Rub. She folds the towel. Every movement is deliberate. Nothing is thrown. Nothing is dropped. The sounds of tidying are rhythmically pleasing. The clinking of glass against marble. The soft thud of wood on wood. The woman stays in the chair. She is in no hurry to dress. The tunic she is wearing is comfortable. The air is warm enough now. She looks out the window. She sees the tops of the cypress trees in the distance. They are swaying very gently in the breeze. Left, right, left, right. They are waving at her, slowly. The sky is a brilliant, hard blue, not a cloud in sight. It is going to be a hot day, but in here it is cool. The stone walls keep the heat out. She thinks about the water in the fountain again. She can still hear it. It is the soundtrack of her life. She imagines the water flowing over her hands, cool, clear. She takes a deep breath. She smells the dust of the face powder, the sweet rose oil, and the faint, earthy smell of the wicker chair. It is a complex domestic perfume. It is the smell of peace. She is waiting for the next step, but waiting is an activity in itself. She is good at waiting. She is a professional at doing nothing. Her hands rest in her lap, one on top of the other. Her shoulders are dropped. Her feet are flat on the floor. She is grounded. You can feel that grounding too. Feel your feet on the floor or the bed. Feel your hands resting. Feel the imaginary smell of roses drifting past your nose. Sweet, calming, ancient. The morning toilet is done. The hair is perfect. The face is ready. The day stretches out before her like a long, flat road. No bumps, no turns, just a straight, easy path to the evening. And we will walk it with her, step by slow step. The hair is done. The face is ready. Now the body must be dressed. In the modern world, dressing is a quick act. A zipper, a button, done. In the Roman world, dressing is architecture. It is the construction of a persona using layers of fabric. It is slow. It is deliberate. It is a ceremony of weight and drape. The woman stands up from the wicker chair. Her limbs are loose and relaxed. She is wearing her tunica intima, the undertunic. It is a simple white linen shift that reaches her feet. It is the foundation. The ornatrix moves to a large cedar chest. The lid is heavy. She lifts it. Kriyak. The smell of cedarwood wafts out. It is a sharp, clean, woodsy smell. It protects the wool from moths. It smells of forests and preservation. She reaches into the chest and pulls out the stola. This is the garment of the Roman matron. It is long. It is voluminous. It is made of fine wool dyed a soft, pale saffron yellow, the color of morning sunlight. The fabric makes a sound as it is pulled from the stack. Shh whip. A sliding, whispering sound. The slave shakes the garment out gently to remove the folds. Snap. A soft flap of air. She gathers the fabric in her arms. It is a cloud of yellow wool. She approaches the mistress. The dressing begins. The woman raises her arms. The slave slides the stola over the woman's head. For a moment, the woman is inside the tent of fabric. The world goes yellow and dim. The wool touches her face, her ears, her neck. It is soft, but it has texture. It scratches ever so slightly, a reminder of the animal it came from. Then her head emerges. Her arms find the armholes. The dress falls. Whoosh. It cascades down her body. It hits the floor and pools around her feet. She is covered from neck to toe. The weight of the dress settles on her shoulders. It is a comforting weight, like a heavy blanket that you wear. It pulls her down towards the earth, grounding her. The slave moves to the shoulders. The stola is not sewn shut at the top, it is pinned. She holds a fibula, a brooch made of gold. It is shaped like a dolphin. She gathers the front and back of the fabric at the right shoulder. She pushes the pin through. Push. Resistance of the wool. Slide. Click. The pin is locked. The metal is cool against the collarbone. She moves to the left shoulder. Another dolphin. Push. Slide. Click. Symmetry. Balance. The dress is secure. Now the belt. The zona. Without a belt, the dress is just a sack. The belt gives it shape. The slave wraps a woven cord around the woman's waist just under the bust. She pulls it tight, tug, not too tight, just enough to feel the pressure. She ties a knot, loop, pull, tuck. Then she pulls the fabric of the dress up slightly over the belt, creating a fold, a colpose. It hangs elegantly. It hides the belt. The woman adjusts the fold. She runs her hands down her hips, smoothing the wool. Smooth. Smooth. Her hands make a dry, brushing sound against the fabric. The dress is on, but she is not finished. A Roman woman does not go out even into her own house without her palla. The palla is a mantle, a wrap, a shawl that is so large it can cover the whole body. The slave goes back to the chest. She pulls out the palla. This one is a deep, earthy terracotta color, red-brown like the clay of a pot. It contrasts beautifully with the saffron yellow. The fabric is thicker here, heavier. The wrapping of the palla is an art form. The slave places one end of the long rectangular cloth over the woman's left shoulder. It hangs down in front. Then she takes the rest of the cloth, yards of it, and draws it across the back. Swish. The heavy wool drags through the air. She pulls it under the woman's right arm. Then she throws the remaining fabric over the left shoulder again. Flap. Settle. The woman is now wrapped in a cocoon. Her right arm is free. Her left arm is swaddled in the cloth. She feels protected. She feels substantial. The layers of wool trap her body heat, but the loose fit allows air to circulate. It is the perfect engineering for the Italian climate. She adjusts the palla. She pulls the edge up over her head for a moment, creating a hood. The sounds of the room are muffled instantly. She is inside her own private temple. She breathes in the smell of the wool. It smells of olive oil, soap, and cedar. She lets the hood drop back down. Soft thud. Now the jewelry. She sits back down. Creak. The wicker chair accepts her weight again. She opens a small jewelry box on the table. It is made of ivory. Inside there are treasures, gold, emeralds, pearls. They catch the sunlight. She picks up a ring. It has a seal carved into a red carnelian stone. She slides it onto her finger. It is tight over the knuckle, then loose at the base. She twists it. Twist. Twist. The gold warms up quickly against her skin. She picks up a bracelet. It is a golden snake that coils around the wrist. She slips her hand through. The metal snake hugs her forearm. It is heavy. She can feel the weight of it every time she moves her hand. It is a constant reminder of her status, but also a sensory anchor. Clink. The bracelet hits the arm of the chair. A sharp, clear sound. Finally, the shoes, the calci. These are not the simple sandals of the house. These are soft leather boots dyed a rich red. The slave kneels at her feet. She lifts the woman's right foot. The foot is pale and smooth. She slides the leather shoe on. It fits perfectly. Soft, supple leather that molds to the foot. Then the straps, long leather laces. The slave wraps them around the ankle. Wrap, wrap, cross over, wrap, wrap up the calf. She ties a knot at the top. Tighten. Then the left foot. Lift, slide, wrap, tie. The process is rhythmic. The leather makes a squeaking sound as it is pulled tight. Squeak, stretch. The woman flexes her feet. The leather moves with her. It feels like a second skin. She stands up again. She is fully dressed. She is heavy now. The weight of the stola, the palla, the gold, the leather, it changes the way she moves. She cannot run. She cannot jump. She can only walk with dignity, slow, measured, gliding. She takes a step. The hem of her yellow dress brushes the floor. Shhh. She takes another step. Shhh. It is the sound of a noble woman moving, a continuous whisper of fabric against stone. She walks towards the door of the bedroom. The slave opens it for her. She steps into the corridor. The air in the corridor is cooler than the bedroom, but she does not feel it. Her layers protect her. She walks down the hallway. The painted birds on the walls watch her pass. Her shadow is long on the floor. She is a moving mountain of color, yellow and terracotta. She reaches the end of the corridor and enters the atrium again. The sun is high now. The pool of light on the floor has moved and changed shape. The water in the impluvium reflects the bright blue square of the sky. She pauses. She adjusts her palla, pulling it tighter around her shoulders. She is armored against the world. She looks towards the tablinum, the office. It is empty. The master is out at the forum. The house belongs to her, but it is a quiet kingdom. There are no decrees to make, no wars to fight, just the management of stillness. She decides to walk to the peristyle again, the inner garden. She moves past the columns. Her leather soles make a soft tap-tap on the marble floor. The sound echoes slightly in the high-ceilinged room. Tap-tap, echo tap-tap. She walks through the shadows of the columns, then into the patches of sunlight. Shadow, sun, shadow, sun. She feels the temperature change on her face. Cool, warm, cool, warm. It is a gentle flickering of sensation. She reaches the garden. The green is overwhelming. The laurel, the acanthus, the rosemary, the bees are awake. Bzzzzzzz. They are hovering over the small purple flowers of the rosemary bushes. The woman watches a bee. It lands. The flower bows under its tiny weight. The bee crawls inside. The flower holds it. Then the bee flies away. The flower springs back. Boing. The woman smiles. A tiny, imperceptible smile. Nature is busy. She doesn't have to be. She finds a stone bench in the shade of a colonnade. It has a cushion on it. She sits down. She arranges her dress around her. She spreads the yellow skirt out. It covers the bench. She pulls the terracotta shawl over her lap. She folds her hands on top of the shawl. The gold ring glints in the stray beam of light. She is a painting. Roman matron in a garden, oil on canvas, static, timeless. She breathes in the garden air. It smells of sun-warmed leaves and dry dust. It is a hot, dry smell. The smell of an Italian noon approaching, but here in the shade it is pleasant. She listens to the fountain, trickle, splash. It hasn't stopped. It will never stop. The water flows from the aqueducts miles away just to come here and splash into this basin. Just for her, just for this moment. She closes her eyes for a second. She feels the heavy gold necklace resting against her collarbone. It has warmed up to her body temperature. She feels the leather straps on her calves. She feels the wool on her arms. She is wrapped up, held tight, safe. There is nothing to do until the midday meal. That is hours away, so she will sit and watch the bees and listen to the water and be boring, wonderfully, beautifully boring. The sunlight creeps across the floor inch by inch. It is a slow clock. She watches the shadow of a column move. It takes 10 minutes to move an inch. She watches it for 10 minutes. She has the time. You have the time. Rest in the shadow with her. Feel the weight of the wool. Smell the rosemary. Let the world slow down to the speed of a shadow. The sun has reached the halfway point of the sky. It hangs directly above the open roof of the peristyle, a blazing white disk. The light pours down into the garden, turning the green leaves of the laurel bushes into bright emeralds. The shadows of the columns have shrunk. They are puddles of darkness gathered at the base of the stone. It is getting hot, not an uncomfortable heat, but a heavy, drowsy heat, the kind of heat that makes the air shimmer, the kind of heat that presses down on your eyelids. But here, under the shaded colonnade, it is still pleasant. The stone roof blocks the sun. The marble floor retains the cool of the night. The woman is still sitting on the stone bench. She has not moved for a long time. Her yellow stola is spread around her like a pool of melted butter. Her hands, however, are now busy. She has picked up the wicker basket that was waiting for her. Inside lies the wool. It is a cloud of white softness. She reaches in. Her fingers sink into the fluff. It is warm and airy. She picks up the distaff. It is a simple wooden stick carved with spiral patterns. She wraps a bundle of the raw wool around the top of it. It looks like a ball of cotton candy on a stick. She holds the distaff in her left hand, raised slightly. In her right hand, she holds the spindle, a weighted stick with a hook at the top. The rhythm begins. It is the rhythm of the Roman matron, a rhythm that has been performed for centuries. She pulls a few fibers of wool from the distaff. She twists them between her thumb and forefinger. Rub, twist. She hooks them to the spindle, and then she lets the spindle drop. Watch the spindle. Gravity pulls it down. The weight makes it spin. Whir. It spins fast at first, a blur of wood. Then it slows down, slower, slower, until it stops, hanging suspended by the thin thread she has just created. It is hypnotic. Let's watch it again. She winds the new thread onto the spindle. Wind, wind, wind. She pulls more wool. Twist. She drops the spindle. Whir. The sound is a low hum, like a large bumblebee. HMMMMMM. The vibration travels up the thread to her fingers. She can feel the spin. The motion is perfectly circular, round and round. The world turns. The sun turns. The spindle turns. She does not need to look at her hands. Her muscles know what to do. Her eyes are unfocused. She is staring at a patch of moss growing on the fountain. The moss is a soft, velvety green. It looks soft enough to sleep on. She thinks about touching the moss, but she doesn't move. She just spins. The bees in the rosemary bush are louder now. The heat has made them active. Bzzzzzzzzzzz. It is a drone, a constant background noise. It blends with the sound of the fountain. Splash. Bzzzzz. Whir. Nature and human activity moving in sync. A lizard scuttles across the sunny part of the floor. Scritch, scratch. It stops. It freezes. It does a tiny push-up. Then it runs into the shade and disappears. The woman watches it lazily. Fast movement seems strange in this heat. Slow movement is better. She pulls the wool again. The fibers separate silently. They are drawn out into a long, thin line. It is a transformation. Chaos becomes order. Fluff becomes thread. There is a satisfaction in this. A simple, boring satisfaction. Her arm rises and falls, up, down, up, down. It is a slow dance. The heavy gold bracelet on her wrist slides up and down with the movement. Clink. When she raises her arm, clink. When she lowers it, it is a slow metronome. The air smells of the wool now. Raw wool has a specific scent. It smells of lanolin, the natural oil of the sheep. It is a heavy animal smell, musky and sweet. It coats her fingers. Her skin feels soft and smooth. She rubs her thumb against her index finger. Slippery, warm. She closes her eyes for a moment but keeps spinning. She can do it by feel, twist, drop, spin. In the darkness behind her eyelids, she sees the spinning circle. A white spiral turning in the dark. It draws you in. Deeper, deeper. The heat is rising. She feels a tiny bead of perspiration on the back of her neck, just under the hairline. It rolls down slowly. It is not unpleasant. It is just a sensation, a reminder of the summer. A gentle breeze blows through the garden. It cools the sweat instantly. A shiver of pleasure runs down her spine. The thread breaks, snap, a tiny sound. The spindle falls to the floor, clatter. It rolls away a few inches. The rhythm is broken, but she does not get angry. She does not sigh. She simply bends down, slowly. The layers of her dress fold and crinkle. She picks up the spindle. She ties the thread back together, a knot. Simple. She starts again. Twist, drop, spin. The mistake doesn't matter. The time doesn't matter. Whether she spins 1 yard or 100 yards, the day will pass the same way. She looks at the solarium sundial carved into a pedestal in the garden. The shadow of the gnomon, the pointer, is getting shorter. It is creeping towards the line that marks the 6th hour. Midday, the time of rest, the time of the prandium lunch and the meridiatio siesta. The anticipation of the nap is delicious, knowing that soon she will be allowed to lie down again, to close her eyes properly, to escape the heat. But not yet. For now, the wool, the white cloud in the basket, is slowly shrinking. The ball of thread on the spindle is slowly growing, transferring matter from one place to another. She yawns. She doesn't cover her mouth. There is no one to see. It is a wide, stretching yawn. Her jaw cracks. Her eyes water. The tear ducts release a tiny amount of moisture. It blurs her vision. The garden becomes a watercolor painting. Green blobs, white blobs, soft edges. She blinks the tears away. The sharpness returns. The laurel leaves are sharp again. The columns are straight again. She changes her position on the bench. She leans back against the stone wall behind her. The stone is warm now. It has absorbed the ambient heat. It feels like a warm hand pressing against her back. She relaxes her shoulders into it. The spinning slows down. Her hand moves with less energy. Twist. Pause. Drop. The spindle spins lazily. It wobbles a bit. It is tired too. Everything is tired in the midday sun. The cicadas have started to sing in the cypress trees outside the walls. Tzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzz. It is the quintessential sound of the Mediterranean summer, a wall of sound, high-pitched, vibrating. If you listen to it long enough, it stops being a sound and becomes a texture of the air. It creates a blanket of noise that covers everything else. It drowns out thoughts. The woman stops spinning. She holds the spindle in her lap. She just listens to the cicadas. Tzzzzzzzzzzzz. It is intense yet soothing. It creates a trance. She stares at the fountain water. The water looks like liquid glass. It falls, it breaks the surface, it heals endlessly. She rests her chin on her hand. Her elbow rests on her knee. She is the thinker, but she is thinking of nothing. She is just watching the light change. The sun is relentless. It beats down on the white marble of the courtyard floor. The glare is bright. She narrows her eyes. It is too bright to look at. She looks back into the shade. The shade is safe. The shade is cool. She is waiting for the signal for food, the signal for sleep. Until then, she sits. She holds the wool. She breathes the hot, dry air. Inhale dust and heat. Exhale, slow and long. The stillness of the figure in the busy garden. The bees fly. The water falls. The sun burns, but she sits, anchored, calm, boring. And you sit with her, feeling the imaginary heat, hearing the imaginary buzz, letting your eyelids grow heavy, heavier. The sun has claimed the sky. It is the 6th hour. The shadows have almost disappeared, hiding directly beneath the objects that cast them. The world is awash in a blinding vertical light. The heat is no longer a suggestion, it is a weight. It presses down on the rooftops of Rome, silencing the city. Even the busy streets outside have quieted down. The mad rush of the morning is over. It is time to stop. Inside the house, the woman lays down her spindle. Clack. The wood hits the stone table. The sound is final. Work is done. She rises from the bench. Her movements are slow, wading through the thick, warm air. Her yellow dress clings slightly to her legs. She walks towards the summer triclinium. This is a dining area specifically designed for the hot months. It is open to the garden on one side to catch any breeze, but deeply recessed to stay in the shade. The walls here are painted with scenes of cool forests and blue rivers. It is a psychological cooling trick. Looking at the painted water makes you feel cooler. In the center of the room, there is a small table. On it, the prandium lunch is waiting. Roman lunch is not a feast, it is a snack. It is simple, cold, and quiet. There are no steaming pots, no servants rushing with platters, just stillness on a plate. She sits on a stool. She does not recline for this meal, that is for dinner. She looks at the food, a loaf of bread, pannies. It is round, scored into 8 sections like a wheel. It is crusty and dusted with flour, a small bowl of olives. They are black and wrinkled, shining with oil, a piece of cheese, pecorino, hard, salty sheep's cheese, a few figs, green and purple, bursting with sweetness, and a cup of water mixed with a splash of wine to kill the bacteria. She breaks a piece of bread, crack, the crust snaps, crumbs fall onto the table. She eats slowly. Chewing is a rhythmic activity. Chew, chew, swallow. The bread is dry and hearty, the taste of wheat. She picks up an olive. She bites into it. It is salty. The flavor wakes up her tongue, but gently. She takes a sip of the watered wine. It is cool. It was kept in a clay jug submerged in cold water. Gulp. The liquid travels down her throat, a cooling path. She eats a fig. It is soft. It requires no effort to chew. It melts in the mouth. The sweetness is intense. It is the taste of the sun condensed into a fruit. The meal takes 10 minutes, maybe 15. There is no conversation. She is eating alone or perhaps with her husband in silence. They do not need to speak. The heat makes speaking difficult. It is easier to just exist. She wipes her hands on a napkin. The meal is over. Now comes the most important part of the Roman day. The meridiatio, the midday rest. The origin of the word siesta, from sexta, 6th hour. She stands up. She feels heavier now. The food sits in her stomach, warm and grounding. The blood is moving away from her brain to digest the meal. A wave of drowsiness hits her. It is a physical sensation, like a heavy cape being placed on her shoulders. Her eyelids droop. Her limbs feel loose. She walks out of the triclinium. She does not go back to the bedroom. The bedroom is too enclosed for the heat of the day. Instead, she heads for a daybed, a lectus, placed in a shady corner of the colonnade. This spot is perfect. It catches the cross breeze from the garden, but the roof protects it from the sun. The bed is simple, a wooden frame with a mattress stuffed with straw. It is firmer than her bed at night. She sits on the edge. She kicks off her red leather boots. Thump, thump, her feet are free. She wiggles her toes in the open air. The stone floor under her bare feet is cool in the shade. It feels wonderful. She swings her legs up. She lies down. She does not cover herself with a blanket. It is too hot for wool. She lies on top of the linen sheet. She arranges her stola so it covers her legs comfortably. The yellow fabric settles around her. She rests her head on a small, cylindrical pillow. She looks up at the ceiling of the colonnade. It is painted with a geometric pattern, red squares, blue circles. She stares at a blue circle. It looks like an eye or a pool of water. She lets her vision blur. The circle becomes a blob. The sounds of the garden are different now. The cicadas are at their peak volume. Tzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzzz. It is a wall of white noise. It blocks out everything else. It is a sonic shield. Inside the shield, she is safe. The fountain is still trickling, but the sound is fainter under the noise of the insects. The birds have stopped singing. They are hiding in the leaves, waiting for the cool of the evening. Even the wind has died down. The leaves of the laurel bushes are motionless. The world is paused. It is a suspended moment in time. She closes her eyes. The brightness of the day is still visible through her eyelids. A warm, orange-red glow. She puts her arm over her eyes. Darkness returns. a cool, self-made darkness. She focuses on her breathing. It is slow and shallow. The heat makes deep breathing unnecessary. In, out. She feels her ribcage expand against the mattress. She feels a tiny fly land on her arm. It tickles. She twitches her muscle. The fly leaves. She settles again. This is not the deep, comatose sleep of the night. This is the light, drifting sleep of the afternoon. She is aware of the garden. She is aware of the heat, but she is detached from it. She is floating just above reality. In her mind, she sees the figs she just ate, the purple skin, the red inside. She sees the olive trees on the hillsides outside Rome, their silver leaves shimmering in the heat. She sees the aqueducts carrying water to the city. Slow, steady water. She starts to drift. Her thoughts become nonsensical. A sheep walking on the ceiling, the fountain turning into wine, soft, blurry images. Her breathing changes. A tiny snore, no, just a heavy breath. H-H-H-Hoo, she is asleep, but light enough that if a servant dropped a cup she would wake. But no servant will drop a cup. The servants are resting too, in the shade of the kitchen courtyard, leaning against the walls, eyes closed. The whole house is napping. The whole city is napping. Imagine millions of people all stopping at once, all lying down, all closing their eyes, a collective pause button pressed on the empire. The sun continues to move. It doesn't care about the nap. It moves across the sky, dragging the shadows with it. The shadow of the column creeps across the floor towards the daybed. It is a slow race. Will the shadow reach her before she wakes? It doesn't matter. The heat is a blanket now, a heavy, invisible blanket. It weighs her down. It relaxes every muscle. Her hand hangs off the side of the bed. Her fingers are limp. They almost touch the floor. Gravity is pulling her down, down into the earth, down into the cool stone. She is a statue again, the sleeping matron, carved in marble, perfectly still. The air is thick with pollen and dust, golden dust, floating in the sunbeams that pierce the garden. If you breathed it in, you would taste the summer. Stay here in the shade. Listen to the cicadas. Tzzzzzzz. Feel the heat. Feel the heaviness of your own limbs. You are having a siesta in ancient Rome. There is no email, no phone, no clock ticking, only the sun and the shade and the rest. She sleeps. The world waits. Everything is slow. Everything is boring. Everything is good. The sun has begun its slow descent. It is no longer directly overhead. The blinding white light of midday has softened into a warm, heavy gold. It is the 9th hour, the traditional time for the bath. In the colonnade, the woman stirs on the daybed. The shadow of the column has traveled across the floor and now rests gently on her ankles. It is a cooling touch. The cicadas are still singing, but the rhythm has slowed down just a fraction. The frantic energy of the noon heat is breaking. The afternoon is settling into a long, lazy stretch. She opens her eyes. The first thing she sees is the painted ceiling. The blue circle is still there. She blinks. Her mouth feels dry. Her limbs feel heavy, filled with the delicious lethargy of a summer nap. She does not sit up immediately. She stays horizontal, letting the world come back to her slowly. She flexes her fingers. She rolls her neck on the cylindrical pillow. Crinkle. The straw stuffing of the mattress makes a soft sound. She pushes herself up. Her hair is slightly messy on one side where it pressed against the pillow. A few strands have escaped the bun. It doesn't matter. She is going to the bath soon. Everything will be undone. She sits on the edge of the bed. She looks at her feet. They are bare on the cool stone. She reaches for her red leather boots, but she stops. There is no need to put them back on. The bath wing, the balneum, is just across the courtyard. She can walk barefoot. The stone is warm, not hot. She stands up. The yellow stola falls straight down, shaking out the wrinkles of sleep. She feels thirsty. She walks back to the table in the triclinium. The jug of water is there. She pours a cup. Glug, glug, she drinks. The water is room temperature now, but it is wet. It soothes her throat. She feels the liquid traveling down to her stomach. It wakes up her internal systems. A servant appears, quietly. Like a shadow detaching itself from the wall, she is carrying a basket. This is the bath kit. The woman looks into the basket. She sees the strigil. It is a curved tool made of bronze, used for scraping oil and dirt from the skin. It shines dully in the afternoon light. It looks like a piece of sculpture. She sees the ampulla, a round flask containing perfumed oil. She sees the towels, thick, rough linen. Everything is ready. The woman nods, a microscopic dip of the chin. She begins to walk. She leaves the triclinium. She walks along the colonnade. Her bare feet make no sound. Pad, pad, pad. She is a ghost in her own home. She passes the garden. The flowers look thirsty. The gardener will come soon to water them, but not yet. Now the garden is waiting just like her. She approaches a heavy wooden door at the far end of the house. This is the entrance to the private baths. Not every Roman house had one, but this is a noble house, a house of wealth, a house of privacy. The door is thick to keep the heat inside. The servant opens it. Heave, creak. A wave of warm, humid air rolls out to meet them. It smells of wood smoke from the furnace heating the water and damp stone. It is a heavy, enveloping smell. She steps inside. The door closes behind her. Thud. The outside world is cut off completely. No cicadas, no birds, no wind. Here, there is only the sound of water and fire. She is in the apoditerium, the changing room. It is a small room with a vaulted ceiling. The walls are painted yellow. There are stone benches along the walls, and niches, cubbyholes for storing clothes. The light here is dim. It comes from small, high windows covered in thick glass. The light is greenish and underwater-like. She sits on a bench. The stone is warm. The heat from the furnaces, the hypocaust system under the floor radiates up. You can feel it through the soles of your feet, a gentle, rising heat. It feels like the building itself is alive and warm. The servant kneels and begins to undo the woman's dress. The bronze pins are removed from the shoulders. Click, click. The palace shawl is unwound. Swish. The belt is untied. The stola is lifted off. The tunic is lifted off. The layers of the noblewoman are peeled away. The yellow wool, the terracotta shawl, the white linen. They are folded and placed in a niche, a pile of color in the gray stone wall. Now she is naked, but there is no shame here. It is just the body. She stands on the warm floor. The air touches her skin. It is not cold. It is thick and humid. It feels like wearing a garment made of air. She picks up a pair of wooden sandals, solely. These are to protect her feet from the floor in the hotter rooms, which can get very hot. Clack, clack. The wood sounds loud in the small room. She wraps a simple towel around her waist. She is ready for the progression. The Roman bath is not just jumping in water. It is a journey through temperatures, from warm to hot to cold. Tepidarium, caldarium, frigidarium, a cycle of sensation. She walks towards the first door. The tepidarium, the warm room. There is no water here, just warm air. To acclimatize the body, to open the pores, she pushes the door. It is heavy. She steps through. The air in the tepidarium is pleasant. It is like a summer evening trapped in a room. There are marble benches. She sits. She leans back against the wall. She waits. She looks at her own arm. She watches a bead of sweat form. The heat is working. It is drawing the toxins out. It is melting the stiffness of the nap. The room is silent, except for a faint, distant roar. Ru-um. That is the furnace, the fire burning under the floor. It is a comforting sound, a sound of power controlled. She closes her eyes. She is in the womb of the house, deep inside the stone, warm, naked, silent. There is nothing to do but sweat, and sweating takes no effort. You just sit there and let it happen, drop by drop, slowly. The oil lamp in the corner flickers. The steam rises. The time passes. Does it matter what time it is? No. In the bath, time dissolves in the steam. She is preparing her mind for the heat. She breathes in the moist air. It coats her throat. It softens her lungs. She is a creature of water and heat now. The politics of Rome are miles away. The accounts of the household are miles away. There is only the sensation of warmth on skin. She lifts her hand and looks at it in the dim light. It looks soft, hazy. The steam blurs the edges of everything. The world is losing its sharp lines. Everything is becoming soft. Rest here on the warm bench. Feel the heat coming up from the floor. Feel the towel against your back. Let the sweat come. Let the thoughts go. This is the beginning of the cleanse, the slow washing away of the day. She sits, she waits, she breathes. Inhale, warmth, exhale, tension. The journey into the heat has begun, and you are going with her, step by step, deeper into the warmth. She rises from the bench in the tepidarium. Her skin is now glistening with a sheen of perspiration. The warm air has done its work. The pores are open. The body is prepared. She walks towards the next door. It is made of thick bronze, tarnished green by the humidity. The handle is wrapped in leather because the metal itself would be too hot to touch. She pushes it open. Kriyak. A cloud of white steam rolls out. It wraps around her ankles. She steps through into the caldarium. This is the heart of the bathhouse, the hot room. The temperature here is intense. It hits you like a physical wall. It is a wet, suffocating heat that instantly slows down every movement. You cannot rush in the caldarium. The air is too thick. The room is vaulted. Condensation drips from the ceiling. Drip, drip. The drops fall onto the hot mosaic floor with a tiny hiss. TSSSD. The floor is incredibly hot. The wooden sandals solely clack loudly against the tiles, protecting her feet from the burning stone. Clack, clack, clack. The light is diffuse. The steam scatters the sunlight coming from the small window high above. The room glows with a milky, white luminance. You cannot see the far wall clearly. It is hidden behind a veil of mist. She finds a marble bench. She sits down. The marble is hot but wet. She leans back. The heat penetrates deep into her muscles. It melts the last remnants of tension from her shoulders, from her back, from her legs. She feels heavy, so heavy. Her head lolls back. She stares up into the white fog. The servant approaches. She is a silhouette in the mist. She holds the ampulla, the round flask of oil. She uncorks it. Pop. The smell of lavender and olive oil explodes in the hot air. The heat intensifies the scent. It is thick and floral. It is time for the oiling. The servant pours the oil onto the woman's shoulder. It feels cool for a split second, then instantly warms up on the skin. The servant begins to rub. Long, slow strokes, down the arm, over the elbow to the wrist. Slide, smooth, slide, smooth. There is no kneading, no deep tissue massage, just the rhythmic application of oil, covering every inch of skin. The oil mixes with the sweat. The skin becomes slippery. The woman closes her eyes. She focuses entirely on the sensation of the hands moving over her body. The friction creates heat. The oil creates smoothness. It is a trance-like state. Now the strigil. This is the defining sound of the Roman bath. The servant picks up the curved bronze tool. It looks like a sickle but blunt. She presses the edge against the woman's oiled skin. She pulls, scrape. The tool collects the oil, the sweat, and the dust. She flicks the goop onto the floor. Flick. Listen to the rhythm. Press, scrape, flick, press, scrape, flick. It is a primitive, satisfying sound, the sound of cleaning. The bronze tool creates a dull vibration on the skin. It is not painful, it is firm. It feels like being groomed like a prize horse. The servant moves to the back, scrape, down the spine, scrape, across the shoulder blades. The woman leans forward slightly to help. She is pliable. She moves where she is pushed. She stops where she is left. The sound echoes in the vaulted room. Scrape, echo, flick. It is the only sound in the world. The steam swirls around them. It muffles the echo, making the room feel small and intimate despite the high ceiling. After the scraping, the plunge. At the end of the room there is the alveus. A hot water pool. Steps lead down into it. The woman stands up. She feels lighter now. The oil is gone. The dirt is gone. Her skin is tingling. She walks to the edge of the pool. She steps down, one step. The water covers her ankles. It is hot, very hot. Second step, to her knees. Third step, to her waist. She sinks into the water. Splash. She sits on the underwater bench. The water rises to her neck. She is enveloped. The water supports her weight. She floats slightly. Her arms drift up. She is weightless. She tilts her head back until her ears are underwater. The sound of the room changes instantly. The scraping sound is gone. The dripping sound is gone. Now there is only the deep, low rumble of the water itself. Wub, wub, wub. The sound of her own heartbeat magnified by the water. Thump, 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 thump. She looks at the surface of the water from below. It is a shimmering mirror of silver. She blows a bubble. Bloop. It rises to the surface and bursts. She stays there, soaking, boiling almost. Her face turns pink. Her blood rushes to the surface of her skin. She is being cooked gently in the heat. It is exhausting in the best possible way. It drains every ounce of energy she has left. She thinks of nothing. Her mind is a blank slate. White steam, white noise, warm water. She is simply a body suspended in fluid. A drop of condensation falls from the ceiling and lands on her nose. Plip. She doesn't wipe it away. It rolls down her cheek and joins the bathwater. She is part of the water cycle now. The servant stands by the edge, waiting with a fresh towel. But she does not rush. She knows the mistress will stay here for a long time, until her fingers are wrinkled, until she is so relaxed she can barely stand. The heat is a sedative. It pulls the eyelids down. It slows the pulse. It creates a fog in the brain, a lovely, warm, impenetrable fog. Stay in the water with her. Feel the heat pressing in from all sides. Feel the weightlessness. There is no gravity here. There are no worries here, just the hot, silent water. Swish, she moves her leg underwater. The water resists gently. Swish. Slow motion. Everything is slow motion. This is the caldarium, the place where time melts. She rises from the hot pool of the caldarium. The water falls away from her skin in heavy sheets. Splash. Drip. Drip. She feels incredibly heavy. Gravity seems to have doubled while she was floating. Her legs feel like lead. Her arms hang by her sides. She is thoroughly cooked, softened, and slowed down. The servant wraps a large, dry towel around her. It absorbs the moisture instantly. The rough linen feels good against the tender, pink skin. She steps into her wooden sandals. Clack, clack. She walks towards the door. She leaves the steam behind. She passes back through the tepidarium. The warm room now feels cool by comparison. The air dries her skin further, but she does not stop here. She continues to the final chamber. The frigidarium, the cold room. This room is different. The architecture changes. The caldarium was low and vaulted to keep the heat in. The frigidarium is high and open. A magnificent dome rises above with an oculus, a round opening at the very top. Through the oculus you can see the late afternoon sky. It is a deep, rich blue. The walls here are covered in blue and white marble. The room feels like an ice cave. The air is crisp. It smells of fresh water and cold stone. In the center of the room lies the cold plunge pool. The water is not heated. It comes directly from the aqueduct from the mountain springs. It is crystal clear. You can see the mosaic tiles on the bottom of the pool perfectly. Blue fish swimming in a blue sea. The water is absolutely still, not a ripple. It looks like a block of glass. The woman drops the towel. She stands at the edge of the pool. Her body is radiating heat. You can almost see the steam rising from her skin in the cool air. She needs to close the pores. She needs to seal the warmth inside. She takes a breath. Inhale cold air. It wakes up the lungs. She steps down. One foot enters the water. Cold. It is a sharp, clarifying sensation. It travels up her leg. She does not flinch. She expects it. She welcomes it. She brings the other foot down. She stands on the first step. She pauses. She looks at her feet in the water. They look pale and distorted by the refraction. She descends. Step 2 to the knees. Step 3 to the hips. The cold water embraces her hot skin. It is the feeling of a mint leaf on the tongue. Cool, fresh, clean. She slides into the water up to her neck. Swish. She does not splash. She glides. She sits on the submerged marble bench. The cold wraps around her. It tightens her skin. It firms her muscles. The lethargy of the hot room is replaced by a calm alertness. Not an energetic alertness, but a peaceful one, like a bell that has just stopped ringing. She dips her head backward. She wets her hair. The water runs over her face. It washes away the sweat. It washes away the oil. She is clean. She is pure. She sits there for a minute, no longer. The frigidarium is for a quick dip, not a soak. But in that minute, she is frozen in time. She watches the light from the oculus reflect on the water, a circle of light dancing on the surface. It wobbles. It settles. She stands up. She walks out of the pool. Water streams off her body. Splash. Drip. Drip. The servant is waiting with a fresh, thick towel. A gausapa, a fluffy wool towel. She wraps the woman immediately. She rubs her briskly. Rub, rub, rub. The friction creates warmth. The skin turns rosy again. The blood is pumping. The woman feels solid. Before, in the heat, she felt like melting wax. Now she feels like polished marble. She runs her hand over her arm. It is smooth. Cool to the touch, but warm underneath. The perfect balance. She walks to a dry bench. She sits. The servant begins to dry her hair. She squeezes the water out of the long strands. Squeeze. Drip. She wraps a towel around the hair, making a turban. The woman's head feels heavy with the wet towel, but supported. The bath is over. The journey is done. Hot to cold, dirty to clean, tired to refreshed. She sits in the frigidarium for a moment longer, listening to the echo of the room. Every sound here is sharp. A drop of water falling, plip. The slap of a sandal, clack. It is a room of clarity. She takes a deep breath. The air is so clean, she feels renewed. She is ready for the evening, ready for the sunset, ready to do nothing again. She stands up. She pulls the towel tighter around her shoulders. She walks towards the exit. Back to the house, back to the garden. The door opens, kriak. The garden air hits her. It is warm, smells of rosemary and evening dust. It feels different now that she is clean. The air feels softer. She walks barefoot along the colonnade. Her feet leave wet footprints on the dry stone. Pad, pad, pad. The footprints evaporate slowly behind her, disappearing just like the day. The sun is lower now. The shadows are long. The golden hour is beginning. The light is rich and syrupy. She walks through the golden light. a clean, silent figure, moving towards the evening. Rest in the feeling of being clean, the feeling of a fresh towel, the feeling of cool skin. You are scrubbed, you are new, you are ready to rest. The golden hour is fading. The rich, syrupy light that filled the garden is now turning a deep, bruised purple. The sun has dipped below the horizon, leaving behind a sky that is slowly losing its memory of the day. The Vesperna, the evening hour, has arrived. The woman is back in her room. She is clean from the bath. Her skin feels tight and cool. Her hair, still damp, has been allowed to dry naturally, hanging loose over her shoulders for now. It feels heavy and wet, a cooling curtain against her neck. She does not put the heavy yellow stola back on. That was for the day. For the evening, inside the privacy of the home, she chooses something lighter, a tunica of soft, unbleached silk. It is the color of cream. It flows like water. It has no belt. It hangs loose from her shoulders, touching the floor. It is a garment made for reclining, made for ease. She sits on a stool while a servant slips fresh sandals onto her feet. These are not the sturdy leather boots of the morning. These are delicate house slippers. Thin leather soles, straps made of silk, slip, tie, they weigh nothing. When she moves her feet, it feels like she is barefoot. Now the house undergoes its transformation. In ancient Rome, when the sun goes down, the darkness is absolute. There are no streetlights, no neon signs, just the dark. To fight the dark, the house must be armed with fire. The lamplighter slave begins his rounds. He carries a torch, a small stick with a burning tip. He moves from room to room. In the cubiculum, he lights the lamp on the table. Touch, flare, the wick catches. A small yellow flame jumps up. In the corridor, he lights the lamps in the wall niches. Touch, flare, touch, flare. The woman watches him from her doorway. It is a rhythmic process, a sowing of light seeds in the field of darkness. Each flame is a tiny victory. The smell of the oil returns. That familiar, warm, earthy scent. It smells like the evening. It signals to the brain that the active part of the day is over. The passive part has begun. She walks out into the corridor. The painted birds on the walls are now dancing in the flickering light. They seem to move. The shadows jump and shudder with every draft. The house feels different at night. It feels smaller, more intimate. The corners disappear into shadow. The world shrinks down to the circle of light cast by the lamps. She heads towards the triclinium, but this is not the airy summer dining room she used for lunch. This is the winter triclinium, or the inner dining room. It is enclosed, protected. The walls here are painted a deep, rich black cinnabar and charcoal. The black walls absorb the lamplight, preventing glare. They make the room feel infinite and cozy at the same time. In the center of the room, the 3 dining couches, the lecti, are arranged in a U-shape. They are covered in mattresses and piled high with cushions, silks in deep reds, purples, and golds, the colors of fire and wine. The cushions look incredibly soft. They are inviting. They say, "Come here, lie down, sink in." A central candelabra stands in the middle of the couches. It is a tall bronze stand, shaped like a tree. From its branches hang 4 oil lamps. They are already lit. The 4 flames cast a warm pool of light onto the central table. The bronze of the stand gleams. The woman approaches the couch. The cena dinner is about to be served. But for a Roman noble, dinner is not sitting up straight. Dinner is lying down. It is the ultimate luxury, to eat while resting. She steps up to the couch. She turns. She lowers herself. The mattress sighs under her weight. Huff. She leans onto her left elbow. She arranges the cushions behind her back. 1 pillow, 2 pillows. She nestles into them. She wiggles her hips until she is perfectly supported. She is reclining on her side. Her legs stretch out down the couch. Her right hand is free to eat. Her left arm supports her head. It is a position of total stability. You cannot fall. You cannot rush. You are anchored. The room is silent except for the faint hiss of the oil lamps. Occasionally, a wick crackles. Pop. The light wavers, then steadies. Shadows play on the ceiling. Large, soft shapes moving slowly. She watches the shadows. They look like clouds passing over a moon. The table in the center is empty for now. It is a round table made of citrus wood, polished to a high shine. It reflects the 4 flames of the candelabra, 4 tiny stars in the dark wood. She waits. Her husband will join her soon, or perhaps he is already there on the adjacent couch, resting in silence. They do not need to speak. The day has been long. The words have been used up. Now is the time for food and peace. A servant enters with a jug of water and a basin, hand washing. The woman holds out her hands over the basin. The water is poured, splash, trickle. It is warm water scented with lemon verbena. It washes away the dust of the afternoon. A towel is offered. Pat, pat, dry. She is ready. Her stomach rumbles faintly. A low vibration. She is hungry but not starving, just ready for the comfort of food. The atmosphere in the room is heavy. The air is warm and still. The black walls seem to wrap around the diners like a blanket. The world outside has ceased to exist. There is no garden, no street, no Rome, only this room, only this light, only this couch. She runs her hand over the fabric of the cushion. It is silk imported from the East, smooth, cool, expensive. Her fingers trace the embroidery, a pattern of vines, round and round, complex and simple. She takes a deep breath. Inhale, lamp oil and lemon verbena. Exhale, the day is done. The night has officially begun. The lamps are watching, the cushions are holding, the woman is resting. This is the good life. Luxury without action, wealth without worry, just the slow, steady burn of the evening. Stay here on the couch with her. Feel the silk under your elbow, watch the flame dance. Let your eyes lose focus. The food will come, but there is no rush. There is never any rush. The room is warm. The oil lamps on the bronze tree cast a steady, golden light that reflects off the polished citruswood table. The woman is reclining on her left elbow, sinking deeper into the silk cushions. Her body is draped in the cream-colored tunic, looking like a cloud resting on a mountain of red pillows. The scene begins. It is not a rushed affair. It is a slow progression of courses, a river of food flowing gently towards the diners. Servants appear from the shadows. They move without sound, their feet wrapped in soft wool to muffle their steps. They place a silver platter on the table. Clink. A soft, metallic kiss against the wood. This is the gustatio, the appetizer. On the platter there are eggs, hard-boiled peacock eggs. They are small and speckled. There are olives, green and bitter. There are snails cooked in garlic and oil, and a salad of mallow leaves. The woman reaches out with her right hand. Roman dining is tactile. There are no forks, only fingers and spoons. She picks up an egg. It is warm. She cracks the shell against the edge of the plate. Crack. A tiny, dry sound. She peels the shell. Pick. Pick. The shell falls away in small flakes. The white of the egg is revealed, smooth, rubber-like, perfect. She takes a bite, soft. It requires almost no chewing. She swallows. The food settles in her stomach, adding to the comfortable weight of the evening. A servant steps forward with a jug. He pours wine into her cup. Glug, glug, glug. It is Mulsum wine mixed with honey. It is thick and amber-colored. She lifts the cup. It is heavy silver embossed with ivy leaves. She drinks. The wine is sweet, very sweet and strong. It coats her tongue like syrup. The honey masks the bitterness of the grape. It warms her chest instantly. She lowers the cup. Thud. A dull sound on the table. The platter is removed. The table is wiped with a purple cloth. Swish, swish, cleaning away the crumbs. The ritual of cleaning is just as important as the ritual of eating. Now the prima mensa, the main course. Another platter arrives. Heavier this time, it holds a roasted fish, a mullet. It lies on a bed of herbs. Steam rises from it, curling up into the lamplight. The smell of roasted fish, coriander, and rue fills the small room. It is a savory, salty smell. She uses a piece of bread to break off a flake of fish. The fish is tender. It falls apart at the touch. She eats it with the bread. The crust of the bread gives a crunch. Crunch, crunch, the fish melts. The contrast of textures, hard and soft, dry and wet. She eats slowly. There is no conversation to interrupt the chewing. She looks at the flame of the lamp while she chews. 1, 2, 3, 4. Swallow. She is lost in the mesmerizing dance of the fire. Her husband on the couch next to her is eating just as slowly. He reaches for the wine. She hears him swallow, gulp. She hears him sigh. Ah, it is a sigh of release. The Senate is forgotten. The legions are forgotten. There is only the fish, and the wine, and the cushions. The room is getting warmer. The combination of the hot food, the wine, and the lamps raises the temperature. The woman feels her eyelids getting heavy again. The food coma is approaching. That pleasant, heavy feeling where the blood leaves the brain and goes to the stomach. Her thoughts become slow like molasses. She stops eating. She is not full, but she is satisfied. She wipes her fingers on a napkin. She leans her head back against the headrest of the couch. She looks at the ceiling. The shadows have moved. They are longer now. The night is deepening outside. The servants clear the fish. They wipe the table again. Swish, swish, always cleaning, always resetting. Finally, the second mensa, the dessert. A small bowl is placed before her. It contains dates stuffed with almonds and rolled in salt, and honey cakes, small, round cakes soaked in honey. She picks up a date. It is sticky. She puts it in her mouth. The sugar rush is immediate, intense sweetness. Then the crunch of the almond inside and the sharp sting of the salt. Sweet, savory, salty, all at once. She eats one. That is enough. She licks the honey from her fingertips. One finger at a time. It is a childish, simple pleasure. She drinks the last of the wine. The cup is empty. She places it upside down on the table, the signal that she is finished. The meal is over. The cena has done its job. It has nourished the body and sedated the mind. She feels incredibly heavy now. She does not want to move. She could fall asleep right here on the dining couch. Many Romans did. It is comfortable enough. She listens to the silence of the house. The kitchen is quiet now. The cooking is done. The slaves are eating their own meal in the back rooms. The house is winding down. She shifts her weight. The silk tunic whispers against the silk cushions. SHHH whip, silk on silk, a sound of pure luxury. She closes her eyes for a moment. She can taste the honey on her tongue. She can feel the warmth of the wine in her belly. She is a vessel of contentment. A draft from the doorway makes the lamps flicker. The light dims, then brightens. It is hypnotic, dim, bright, like a slow strobe light. She is ready for the final transition, from the couch to the bed, from the dining room to the sleeping room. But for now she lingers, just lying there, digesting, resting. The world is a soft place, full of cushions and honey. There are no sharp edges tonight. Everything is rounded and smooth. Stay here in the warm glow of the lamps. Feel the fullness. Feel the gravity pulling you down into the mattress. You are heavy. You are warm. You are safe. The night is waiting to take you back to the silence, back to the dream. The dinner is finished. The flavors of honey and wine are fading memories on the tongue. The warmth of the triclinium has done its work, turning the body into a heavy, pliable thing. It is time to leave the dining couch. It is time for the final journey of the day. The woman sits up slowly. She pushes herself up with one arm. The cushions cling to her for a moment, reluctant to let her go. She stands. The silk tunic falls straight, brushing her ankles. She feels a little unsteady, softened by the wine and the heat. A pleasant dizziness, like floating on a calm raft. She walks out of the dining room. The house is darker now. The lamplighter has returned and extinguished the decorative lamps in the corridors to save oil. Only the essential lights remain, tiny, lonely stars guiding the way back to the bedroom. She walks past the peristyle garden one last time. It is a pit of blackness. The moon has moved behind the roofline. The garden is invisible, but she knows it is there. She can hear it, trickle, splash. The fountain never sleeps. It is the heartbeat of the house, pumping water through the veins of stone. It will be there tomorrow. It will be there in 100 years. She reaches the heavy oak door of the cubiculum. Her hand finds the bronze ring. Touch. It is cool again. The heat of the day has finally left the metal. She turns it. Click. The latch opens. She steps inside. The room is exactly as she left it this morning, yet it feels different. It has been waiting for her return. The bed has been made by the servants. The sheets are pulled tight, a flat white plane waiting for a traveler. The wool blanket is folded at the foot, a purple mountain range. A single oil lamp burns on the table. It is fresh, full of oil, ready to watch over the night. She moves to the table. She unties the silk belt of her tunic. Swish. It falls to the floor. She slips the tunic off her shoulders. It slides down like water. She is back in her simple undershift, the garment of sleep. She sits on the edge of the bed. Creak. The familiar sound of the wood. It welcomes her back. She lifts her legs. She swings them onto the mattress. She scoots back against the pillows. She is home. This 10-foot square is her entire universe now. The empire outside, the roads, the legions, the markets, the ships, it has all dissolved. It does not exist. There is only this bed. There is only this moment. She reaches for the blanket. She pulls it up, over her feet, over her knees, over her chest. The weight is immediate and reassuring. It presses her down into the mattress. It tells her muscles that they can stop holding on. Let go. Let go of the day. She looks at the lamp one last time. The flame is steady. A tiny, perfect teardrop of light. She leans over. She brings her face close to the flame. She purses her lips. Puff. Darkness. Instant, total, velvet darkness. The visual world is gone. Now there is only the feeling. The feeling of the linen sheet, smooth and cool against her cheek. The feeling of the pillow, soft and yielding under her head. The feeling of the wool, heavy and warm over her body. She closes her eyes. She takes a deep breath. Inhale, exhale. The breath is long. It empties her lungs completely. She listens to the silence. It is a thick silence, a silence you can wrap yourself in. Inside the silence there are tiny sounds, the settling of the house, tick, the distant phantom sound of the fountain, splash, the sound of her own heart, lub-dub. Her body begins to shut down. The toes relax, the calves relax, the thighs relax. The hips sink into the bed, the back flattens, the shoulders drop, the jaw unhinges. The tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. The eyes roll back gently. She is drifting away from Rome, drifting away from time. She is floating on a dark river that flows towards tomorrow. But the river is slow, so slow, it hardly moves at all. There is nothing left to do. The script is finished. The words are finished. The day is finished. You are safe. You are warm. You are asleep. Good night, noble woman. Good night, Rome. Good night.